Hello everyone! Welcome to the Easy Allies 2024 Game of the Year Deliberations.
Yeah.
So in the room right now we have Isla, we have Huber, and on Zoom we've got Damiani and Gabby. And I'm Daniel Bloodworth. Hello. We're doing things kind of differently than we've ever done. Still essentially the same in some ways, but basically in terms of the format of the videos, today in this video we are just deliberating Game of the Year, and then in the future, but you will see it before this.
Yeah, your past, our future.
We'll have a stream with basically our personal picks through a range of different categories and stuff. So like best game to play in one night, best 7, best remaster, all that stuff. They won't be like big, brawls or anything like that. It'll just be each person's personal takes on all those different things.
But we will be judging each other's picks.
We will be judging.
Yeah.
It'll be vitriolic and angry, probably.
But yeah, and Don is more on that wavelength rather than like picking an ultimate best. He would rather just give his personal picks and stuff. And then also, of course, our written, produced, compact Game of the Year video will be up at the same time as these deliberations. So you can just get all the answers there, get our top nominees, get our winner in that with some sick music and sick cutting from Isla.
Hopefully. Haven't done it yet. Let's hope it's good.
The general usual preliminaries still apply though. These are just our raw discussions.
Yeah, this is not for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
This is not a show.
This is academic.
This is us actually having this conversation.
Right.
We're not here to entertain.
Just behind the scenes, we may cut out some food breaks or some, whatever if someone went too
Emotional
far off on a
breakdowns.
tangent and wants to cut it out later or
Yeah,
something.
my stomach is just ripping itself to shreds right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why Gabby had to go. She was here earlier and she had to Zoom because she was not feeling well.
You want an Oreo?
Later for sure. Yeah.
And then we will try to give somewhat of a heads up, but there will be spoilers. It's just the
Gabby,
nature
you
of
sound crazy, robot.
how things go. Gabby had to move to another room. But yeah, so kind of I think the first thing I want to do is just kind of go through the long list, what I deem the bucket.
We love the long list.
Love a bucket.
And one thing, so basically, it's just sort of like throwing in like anything that, like I put down a big list, and then after I go through it, then if there's something I haven't,
Yeah.
you guys can put it in there.
It's the best.
Couple things to keep in mind with the bucket.
The bucket. I'm obsessed with the
I
bucket
do not
already.
expect all of this to be in there, but I wanted to put some things in there just to have for when we do B-roll, when we have montages and stuff.
Blood, can we have a literal bucket?
Not this time.
Damn it.
It's too late for that.
Is there a
I'm not
game
gonna go
of
find
a bucket? Like, does
I was thinking,
Flyer
like,
have a bucket?
Infinite wealth
I mean,
or something.
another crab's treasure, sort of, but
yeah.
In Infinite
oh my
Wealth,
God,
does somebody spill a bucket out? Like, that would be
Probably.
perfect.
Yeah.
Put that in the montage, future me, if you remember.
yeah. And this is don't be offended by the order of these because this is just as whatever came to mind, whatever scattershot thinking.
Oh, yeah. No order.
1000 times resist, Tekken 8. It's clearly alphabetical.
It's yeah, 1,000
comma
times
Tekken.
resist, Tekken 8, Outlast Trials, Dragon's Dogma 2, Pacific Drive, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes,
Darn too.
Balatro, Frostpunk 2, Stellar Blade, Another Crab's Treasure, Animal Well, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, For the Laughs, Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, Flock, SteamWorld Heist 2, Thank Goodness You're Here, I Am Your Beast, Astrobots, Metaphor, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Neva, Mario Party Jamboree, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Slitterhead, Dragon Quest III HD 2D, Stalker 2, Nine Souls, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Indiana Jones, Crow Country, Fear the Spotlight, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, UFO 50, Indica, Silent Hill 2, and Warframe 1999. Oh, and Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Lost Crown. Did you have Wukong in there also?
I don't think I do, actually.
Yeah, throw
Any
that on
games you don't want to put on there?
there. And did you have Like a Dragon?
You might be right. I don't think I do. Like a Dragon,
was
Infinite
about-
Wealth.
Definitely call that a bucket, not a short list.
That's
Or a long
what he
list
was
even.
saying though. It's everything he was making sure we don't forget anything.
That new movie
No, I
theater.
get it. I'm just teasing.
The new movie theater thing where you can take your own bucket in and fill it with popcorn now.
Oh,
That was
Fear
one
the
day.
Spotlight on it? Yes.
Oh, it was only one day?
Yeah, it was just one
Bummer.
day.
Did you say Unicorn Overlord? That was the only one.
Oh, no, I did not.
That was the
No, I did
only
not.
one.
That was this year.
Yep.
January.
God almighty.
God
I
almighty.
think you got all the ones I had on mine.
Helldivers 2, did you have that?
Nope.
Maniac.
Oh my god. See, this is what the bucket is
Whoa.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
Good
Gotta
one.
have it.
Death Sprint.
That's desperate. That's okay.
Love Desperate.
Blood will not allow it in the bucket.
No,
first
that's
blood-
Death Sprint. Death Sprint to me is
Kinitsugami.
more like
Oh,
best
yeah.
game to play in one night.
Kunitsugami though, legit.
Oh,
Kunitsugami
Kunitsugami.
out of respect.
Legit.
Yes. Holy
Out
crap.
of nothing but respect.
Yeah.
Did you say Rise of the Golden Idol?
I didn't. I thought, yeah, that one's, that's okay.
Never played it.
Shut down.
I did.
Shut down.
Not allowed. Blood
Okay.
won't allow it.
I mean, I can
Should
go
we
with
put Hellblade 2 on there so the
No.
console warriors don't
No.
get upset?
We all know we're not going to put it on the nominees,
Yeah,
so let's
that's
just
okay.
skip it.
There you go.
that. Technical stuff is great.
Yeah,
Wait, if
beautiful game.
Erdtree is there, then you might as well put the final shape on there.
Warframe 99 is on there.
Might as well.
That too.
Remember, this
Right.
is just the preliminary list.
Yeah.
The Prelistomary.
The preliminary.
Felistamary.
And put Marvel Rivals on there. Just,
Oh,
Ah,
true,
sure,
true,
why
true.
not?
just cause.
That game is not done,
Just cause.
but
Not
kind of
done.
fun.
Interesting.
The balance is just crazy.
Okay.
Not done, kind
That's
of fun.
45.
Concord's better,
45.
sorry.
45.
45?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But again, like some of these I wasn't even thinking like,
Yeah.
like no way is like would I put it on the final list. It just
An actual, yeah.
But I
stuff
think you
that's
should-
highlights of the year, yeah.
I think we should go through them one by one, rapid fire,
Yes or no 'em.
and yes or no if they're gonna make it to the nominees.
I don't think
we
we
No,
need
no,
to do
I
that.
think
About
to the
'em.
long list. I think there should be two
Right,
narrowing
yeah.
down. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go to that yet. Actually,
We can clean this list up.
yeah, we definitely will. But something that we had said last year that I thought was interesting, is that like potentially, unless somebody like has a really big objection, that like each person's like number one should probably just be on the list.
100%.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
You,
there's only,
everybody, no matter what,
there's only
at least
5
gets
of
one.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
do we get
100%.
do we get a veto? Do we get an
Well, that's what I'm saying. If
anti-vote?
like
If the whole
like
group,
if most
maybe.
of us are like, no, come on,
Yeah.
like, kind of thing.
Like,
but
right, like that game is actually
Everyone.
trash. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
There's one game potentially where I think that could happen, but we'll see if we get to it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. All right, let's do it, Blood.
yeah. So yeah. So what is Huber? I guess we'll go with you. What is?
Should we
your-
put a couple locks in that we just know? Like,
well, that's
pull
what I'm
up-
saying. Your number one. What is your number one like first
But,
thing that you want to lock in?
I think I think it's better because like to Huber, at least he said before, like the nominees are more important than anything. I think we narrow it down first because there's
That's what he's
Like,
trying
two-
to do. He's saying do your locks, and we'll narrow down
And then we'll
further
yeah.
from there.
Yeah, the locks first,
oh
because then you
okay.
then
and
you
this
know how
is
much
the locks
space
for
you
the
have.
long list.
Yes.
Okay.
Dragon's Dogma 2,
Dragon's Dogma 2 is your number one.
Second.
100% a lock.
Talk to me about it.
Talk to you about Dragon's Dogma.
Are we talking right now, or are we just saying them?
Dragon's Dogma is the most misunderstood game of the year, and I think there's so much of what I love about video games in Dragon's Dogma 2. And I think it does some of that stuff better than every other game on the list. So, like, one, it doesn't hold your hand, and it just drops you in this world. Like, there is a little bit of direction. It's not like you're just running around aimlessly, but you have to pay attention. This game asks just a little extra from the player, you know? It's
Yeah.
not just running from waypoint to waypoint, mashing through dialogue, and grinding XP. Like, you kind of have to put yourself in this world. And I just think of, I mean, obviously the combat itself is one of the highlights of this game, of this series. Climbing on a big cyclops
heck
is
yeah.
like one of the most fun things to do in 2024 in
Hubert, I
gaming.
still, like, even though I didn't get to play nearly as much of this game as I wanted to,
Yeah.
I still remember, like, oh, I'll just jump on this griffin, and then
Yeah.
getting,
Just
like,
fly.
flown off way some other
entire
place,
map,
yeah.
and getting shaken off and just falling to my
You're like,
death.
you're on it, and you're like, how do I get down from here? What do I do?
You die.
Yeah. And I think about the mission design, and I honestly will die on this hill. I truly think it is the most underrated thing of 2024 are the missions in this game. I want to call out, like, the political assassination mission, where you, like, go in and you have to, like, kneel down and, like, wait to take out the target. You don't know who it is. Yeah, I totally botched that, but it was, like,
Yeah.
one of the most memorable things of the year. There's a mission, too, where it's, like, you hear a commotion inside of a house, and then a guy leaves, and you can, like, tail him through the city. And that stuff is so fun because it doesn't tell you to do any of that.
Yeah.
It's like, let me just fully RP and inhabit this space, and, like, that guy looks suspicious. I'm gonna follow him. I'm gonna tail him.
Yeah.
And then he ends up going to another bar, and, like, all this whole, you know, big group conspiracy pops up. Like, there's just so much discovery. And I think it's just a really nice balance of, like, giving you so much freedom, not holding your hand, but also it's not completely aimless.
And there's such a sense of discovery too. Like,
Yeah.
I was like way far in before I even went to the like elf village up
Yeah!
north.
The freaking elf village!
And it's like they all speak Elvish. Unless you have a
Oh, right,
pawn
yeah,
that
yeah.
speaks Elvish, you
Yeah.
can't understand them.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you have to change classes. It's so,
Oh my God,
it's
the-
so fun to try all the
job
different
classes.
jobs.
Yeah.
And like anyone who's like, "Oh, I got bored, but you only ever played one class," I'm like, "You did the game wrong. Sorry."
There's
Like,
a lot of classes, a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
And like the later classes, like the hybrid classes, especially the final hybrid class,
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, so fun.
Anyway,
Player housing,
Player
I'm a sucker for
housing.
that. Just, yeah, I love that. I love Dragon's Dogma 2. I truly think it's one of the best games of the year.
it's such a nice
What do you think about, like,
world to be in too.
Yeah.
like main story and stuff? Because I've heard some people are like, yeah, like some of the characters and stuff that seemed cool off the get-go just ended up not being as well developed or anything.
It might not be as strong as other RPGs, especially this year, the year of the RPG.
Yeah.
You know, we'll definitely get into some of those other stories that are incredible. But I think the individual, the micro of this game is so strong. Like, there is this big, grand political drama of, like, the two nations, which, you know, is pretty fine. You know, ancient
Yeah,
dragon
yeah.
coming to
Yeah, yeah,
destroy
yeah.
all that. Like, all that stuff is fine, but I still think, like, individual stuff in that game is really good.
Well, and
So.
it's an RPG with a different priority than, you know, something more story focused like Metaphor or you know whatever. It is more about inhabiting the world and like
Yeah.
just embodying like that, and so like the world feels to me more alive.
It feels
and
so
like
lived in.
the
yes.
story being less presented to you to me is kind of a strength of that ethos, where it's like in real life some guy doesn't come up to you and say like, "Hey main character, like come over here and do this." like he
Right.
was saying, it's like you stumble upon it like
Yeah.
half the time. And like, is it always successful? Like maybe not, but like
Yeah.
I just think it's a different design philosophy than a story focused RPG. It's a It's an action RPG where you're just kind of in the world. I mean, like,
And just that sense too of like where the monsters can interact with the townsfolk.
Oh, yeah,
And there's like
yeah.
there aren't those like
Fun.
invisible fences up.
or,
Yeah.
or just the way that fast travel or lack thereof works. You know, it's like that's the game telling you like this is a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, annoying. Of course, we gotta bring it up. It's Game of the Year, of course. There was all the big controversy about microtransactions and fast travel and stuff, I think, which was...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
I
kind of
personally
I don't want to be too dismissive, but I
That
don't really
was-
think
that
it
was-
I
matters
think
too
it
much.
was a witch hunt, personally.
It was a misunderstanding
and a misunderstanding.
witch hunt. Like,
yeah.
every game has like pre-order bonuses. Like, do I love that? No, but
No.
like, are these offensive?
Yeah.
No. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
like-
need those at all to play. Like,
That's the problem I had with it, was framing it like they wanted you to spend real money to have the fast travel option. And that is just, to me, that's completely wrong. Like, you get fast travel later on in the game so much.
Yeah.
You can use those ox carts
Yeah.
very often, very early.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, you don't need that stuff.
It was definitely a huge conversation of the year, so it's good that
Yeah.
we brought it up for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think I actually. I think I said this before we started shooting, but yeah, one of my craziest things for this year is I for sure played more games than last year, and I think I beat more games than last year.
Same.
But this list, dude. Like, there's so many games that I'm like, oh, I wish I finished that, or I
Same.
wish I got to play that, and it's just like,
There's so many long
2024 is insane, dude. That's why we have 45 freaking things on
I
this
know.
list.
There's so many games, and so many of them are longer than like 20 or 30 hours.
Exactly, right? It's like, yeah, you got Dragon's Dogma, Metaphor, Final Fantasy, Dragon Age, like just so
Infinite
many just
Wealth,
100-hour freaking games.
Wukong, yeah. Crazy.
Isla, do you have a...
Nice.
Or actually, either you want to chime in on Dragon's Dogma, or are you good? Don't want to leave you out.
Dragon's Dogma thoughts.
This is gonna take 9 hours if we spend that amount of time on every game, though.
We don't need to.
We won't.
I
that
didn't
was also
play
really
Dragon's
nice.
Dogma. It doesn't
really
seem like
nice.
a game I personally would like, but I understand why it's for why other people enjoy it, so I'm totally good with that.
Cool. Yeah, we can get into like full-on debates and stuff later.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We'll
I
get
mean,
in,
I don't need
yeah.
to debate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Isla, what are your thoughts? Number ones.
I mean, as is typical, like I make a list every year that literally is called games I liked in 2024, and it's like 6 things. So do you want? I don't know what my number 1 is.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma was my number 1. I just want to make sure.
I
it was
guess the
there,
one
'cause
you
I
want to
truly believe
like.
in it.
I mean, like
Yeah.
UFO 50, Indica, Silent Hill 2, Animal Well, Balatro, Fear the Spotlight are like my horses. You know.
But you don't know which one like you want to lock in.
It would probably be UFO 50 or Indica.
Love it.
Like, because they're both so different.
Dude, Indigo was so sick.
Indica is my favorite, like narrative experience of 2024. And UFO 50 is just, like, such an amazing showcase of talent and, like, inventive game design. I imagine UFO 50 will get on the list automatically, so maybe I'll say Indica. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly not sure about that on either way, but yeah. So yeah, I'll get Indica in there,
Love
and then I'll
Indica.
put UFO 50 kind of over there.
A game that asks you to fill a water bucket.
5 times.
Yeah,
It's part of the...
yeah. I just played through it yesterday, so
Nice. Oh, it's so sick.
yeah. You hear my name for it? Uncharted.
Nuncharted. Hilarious.
Which is so weird.
But
Why does Indica get a number and UFO 50 doesn't?
well, I thought that's where you were putting as your lock in.
Yeah, everyone gets 1 right now.
Oh, I feel... This feels like a weird way to do this. I feel like we should just pare
That's what I'm
down the
saying.
big list. Yeah, I feel like we pare down the big list and then have a list to go down from.
I think
from
Blood
that.
wanted everyone to just get at least 1 game on there, and then we'll pare down the big
Yeah.
list. Yeah. Everybody just gets 1 to start.
Okay.
I think it's. I think
does
this is
feel like
fun.
doubling up on
Everyone
it,
gets
but-
a winner right out of the gate. This is fun.
Damiani, what do you think?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean,
Okay.
it's more for like in years where maybe there's like a game that you would want.
There doesn't.
No one else would want that like game, and it's like because there's like so few of us, it doesn't. It's our reward, so it's like doesn't matter if the rest of us don't like that game. If someone's like that was my #1 game, it has to be on our list because otherwise, whose list
Unless
is
it's
this?
truly
then?
a piece of
It's not
shit.
like yeah. I mean,
But I appreciate you
matter.
starting this positively instead of cutting things negatively.
we were gonna
I
start it
appreciate
positive.
I'm not.
Like-
I'm not trying to argue with Glenn. I'm just saying, like, what's the most efficient way to do this? Like, do I talk about
well,
Indica right now? Because we're gonna have to talk about
yeah,
it
the
again
discussing
later.
it part I
Sure.
thought was gonna come later.
I don't
I'm
think
with
we
you
should
on that,
discuss
Isla.
things.
Chill,
right
chill,
now.
chill,
Yeah, I'm
chill,
with
chill.
you.
That's
I
what I
agree
was
with that.
saying.
I thought we were just like
Because
saying our
discussing
game.
it now, we're gonna have to discuss it
Yeah.
again
Got it,
later.
got it.
Yeah, I think we should
Yeah,
say
yeah.
a little
We're
something. We don't
redundant,
just don't have to go as long as when
Indica
Huber
good.
did. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful 50, good.
I'm fine with that.
Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. It's like if we discuss it now, we have to talk about them 4
That
times.
makes sense. For sure.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
that makes sense to me too, Isla. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
okay.
Damiani.
The one I want to lock in is Rebirth.
Okay.
Rebirth. Bump, bump, bump.
That's one.
Rebirth. Yeah, I'm not that far into that either, but I've at least finally started it.
Plays best in IMAX, blood.
Right.
Plays best in IMAX.
Oh no, that was the hardest thing for me is to figure out which freaking mode I wanted to play it in.
Oh, that was the game I put in performance mode for like 3 seconds, and I was like, well, this looks terrible.
Yeah, I went back and
remember
forth
what
for
I
like
played
the
before.
first hour
I swapped it.
before
I
I
played
finally
in graphics
settled on
for sure.
graphics mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once I played in graphics mode for a few hours, then I was like, it's all good. Yeah. Gabby, what are you going for?
Elatra.
Balatro.
Absolutely.
Not exactly a surprise.
Not
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue
at
for
all.
it because I know everyone else also loved it. Wait, did everyone played it? Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah,
Quite a
I've
bit.
been playing it like every day.
continue to play it.
Past
Yeah.
few weeks.
Yeah.
Wait, I
The
wanna
gift
show
that
you-
keeps on giving.
Can you see that? How many hours I have?
I can't quite, no.
How many?
534.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think the phone version has that, so thank goodness.
Yeah, this is my Steam.
Right.
Like my WoW account didn't even have that much after like 7 years.
I'm insane.
I'm like just at that in Warframe, and I feel like I play
I
that all
also-
the time.
Because I listen to a lot of audiobooks and a lot of podcasts, I'll play
Sure.
Belatra while I do that. And like when we watch like Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or whatever, like I'll also be
Oh.
playing Belatra while we watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think my number one, my lock is gonna be Animal Well.
Nice.
Which, you know, I was kind of unsure, like, what the heck my goatee is, but I think I just keep coming back to that game. And it is pretty amazing what that dude has done. And we will get into it when we get into it, I guess.
We're gonna need a like best solo dev category here
Yeah.
pretty soon.
But I feel weird about that because even
No,
like
yeah.
even somebody like that has basically
Yeah,
like
yeah,
worked on
yeah,
it for
yeah.
8 years and still had, you know, health and feedback
Yeah.
and all that.
Hired
Yeah.
guns and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Best quote unquote solo dev.
Yeah.
Best team under 10.
Best small team.
Yeah.
I think we can all
Best
agree.
game parentheses small team.
I think we can all agree that Astrobot is a lock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
Astrobot is a good one.
Yeah,
You find out where I
You
have it.
missed it. It's up here.
Did I pass it? I passed it.
Yeah, it's
definitely
19.
a lock.
Why not put them in alphabetical order? It's easier
Lock
to-
it.
We will put them in alphabetical
Yeah.
order when we put them in alphabetical order. It's okay.
We just have to let Blood do this the way he wants to
You
do
have a
it.
list of 45 things. Just, an order
Just
everyone is
the way
familiar
it's
with.
gotta be.
Alphabetical.
Oh, you mean just on that?
Yeah.
Where do
Oh.
we?
So you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
find
yeah.
it.
Just so it's easier for you to find.
Where do we stand on DLC?
I'm not
Here's
super
my
in
thing.
favor of it.
Here's my thing is like I am in theory completely fine with having a DLC in the Game of the Year category. Do I think Erdtree would make our list? No. Like it's beautiful and I enjoyed it, but like it didn't like blow my mind, change the world, like change Elden Ring. Like it didn't It's just more
Or
Elden Ring, which I
You
enjoyed.
could name 10 games you liked this year better than that.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like, it was a thing I did, and like if we were going to 20, it would be in there, like easily. It's probably like, you know, but like I didn't write it on my games I liked list, even though I beat it, you know, and I liked it.
I can't. Also, I think the biggest mark against it for me personally, actually, I know it's been a little while, but I can't remember any of the bosses except the final one.
There you go.
And Bill!
Oh, that was the best fight. Oh, that was my
That fight
favorite.
was hard as
That was my favorite
shit,
one.
dude.
That was the actual best one.
Those two dragons,
No.
I was like, holy shit.
Shout out to Erdtree. Shout out to Erdtree for truly having the best representation of dragons of all time in a From
hardest
game
dragons,
ever. This is
probably.
something they've been doing now for over a decade. Like, they are obsessed with dragons, and this absolutely was the culmination of dragons in my mind.
Yeah.
How many players is that new
3.
game gonna
Yeah,
be?
I think it's 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah. That's
Very
the player co-op.
curious about that.
Trios.
Apparently there was some kind of gameplay demo that you all saw that I'd missed, because I'm still like, what the hell is this game?
Yeah.
But you guys seem to know.
Well, they had a press release that explained all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you weren't
I
here when
missed-
they read it.
Yeah, I
on
think
the
I was
pod.
out. I was out that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed it.
I think Metaphor's probably going on that list, right? I think it should go on that list.
I didn't find it interesting, but
Oh, interesting.
I played it for like an hour or whatever, and I was like, yeah, okay.
That's one of the only ones that I didn't finish. I got like 20 hours in, but unfortunately,
Yeah, I'm around the
many
same
other
point for you.
RPGs.
Yeah,
I finished.
I really love what I played.
Yeah.
I think Damiani and I are the only ones who finished it, right?
Anyone else?
None of us did.
Not, I wish, but yeah.
I do think it deserves a place on there. I will, again, I say this every time, I think the story is kind of a mess, but the characters are so good that it's definitely in my top 10.
It's in my top 10 too, and
Yeah.
I think it's good enough. Does sound like we have like a lot of strong games. If like we don't have enough people behind it, then maybe not. But like I do think it was
I'm definitely behind it. It's just a thing where like, if only I played more kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when-
I was. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, from Jason. I mean, he's not one of us, but like, his criticism was that he didn't like the story as it went on.
Yeah.
He said it got worse and worse.
But
I didn't play it,
again,
but
like
all
the
the way.
characters are just so good that like the story is basically irrelevant. To my
I mean, those games
enjoyment
are
of the
usually
game.
about the bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I just like, I
Hulkenberg.
miss those characters. Like I miss, an old friend or something. Like
Yeah. I also really enjoyed it systemically too, in terms of like the combat and all of that. And I think it's really hard to make a great turn-based system that stands out nowadays. Like most people just want to dismiss turn-based, and I think they really did a lot of cool stuff there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I will
Infinite
also say,
Wealth
I love the first hour of the
is one
game.
of-
The first like 2 hours of the game is nothing like the rest of the game.
I figured. I mean, like everything like that, especially games with job systems and stuff. It's like you gotta do 10 hours before you really even engage.
I don't even
with the
think 10. Like
systems.
with this one, it's definitely not 10 hours. It's probably 3, but
Okay.
it's still definitely completely different than
Yeah.
the rest of the game. I was like, what the fuck is this in the beginning?
Yeah, the beginning is like you can't even fight. It's like run away
Yeah.
from enemies.
Yeah,
Do not engage in
exactly.
An encounter, or you will die.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, like,
yeah.
I've played enough SMT and Persona, and like
yeah.
You get it.
I trust that what they're doing is probably very solid.
Totally solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's not Gabby's highlight, but the music is I love it.
The music is awful.
When it kicked in, I started
Dude,
laughing.
Dude, one of those songs
The music
actually
is-
pisses me off. The
Yeah, we'll get ready to
Isn't
hear
that
it
all of
over
that
and over
song
again. Yeah, that's all.
pisses me
Esperanto
off.
chanting.
I love it.
It's so bad. So distracting.
I mean,
It's a
I
choice.
think the strength of
And
the
it's a
game
bad choice.
is because you said like how strong the characters are. It comes down to like what you decide to do with like your time, because you
Yeah.
can build the social aspect, but it's not quite like a Persona game in that regard. It's more about trying to like get all these missions done and spend, while spending time with characters to build them up in meaningful ways. It's not just about character development, it's about different RPG systems that you're going to enhance by doing these different actions, by spending a day talking and engaging with this character versus there's an optional quest to go do over here, what might that reward be? And that's
I did find
way better use of time than just simply I'm going to study with this character after and maybe we'll have a romance or something. It's like there's like gameplay tied behind it this time. It's like, or a little bit more gameplay. I was like, this is a better way to do this. I like
also
this
is just a criticism of the game. I find it insane that your day starts at noon.
Oh.
Crazy.
Sounds about right
That
to
is
me. I don't know.
crazy.
Sounds about right
Well, it's
to me.
fantasy. It's
I got out of bed at
I
1
know,
yesterday.
but you're like fighting
We had
for
a party the
the
night before,
soul
but-
of the kingdom, and you like have a leisurely morning. What is this, France? No, like we have to.
You have
like,
to have
what
your
are
coffee,
we doing starting
you
at
have
noon?
to-
You should be able to do something morning, afternoon, and night.
That's very funny.
True.
That's
That's
funny.
very funny.
Hubert said, like a dragon, infinite wealth.
I think it is one of the strongest Yakuza games.
I've heard it's incredible.
But more than that, I truly think it is one of the best RPGs of the year. Like, its RPG-ness blew me away by how good of an RPG this game is. One of the biggest things, Blood, you're talking about turn-based combat. The freaking way, man, the way they made this combat so much better than Like a Dragon 7.
Right. Yeah, I remember it being kind of a weak point after time went on, yeah.
Yeah, in 7, it's just strictly turn-based. You can't move your characters, but now in Infinite Wealth, you can move around before your action, and there's just, that opens up so much strategy, and like, it ties into the whole franchise's identity because you can position yourself next to a traffic cone and then pick that up and start using that as a weapon. Or, if you position yourself behind enemies, you can, do critical attacks, or next to your party members and you do team ups. So combat is just an incredible improvement. Damiani would love it because there's jobs, dude. And leveling up the jobs in this, like any good job system, is a 10 out of 10 because you get like permanent bonuses for your character just by reaching certain thresholds with some, so you'll like bounce around jobs. So much fun. And I mean, this is something that I've been harping on for, ever since like Yakuza 0, is how good this franchise ties into itself. Every single thing you do makes one aspect of the game more meaningful and better. So like,
Guess my friends are over at my house right now.
Nice. You level up this thing and that affects this, which then affects this. Like, it all just builds on itself in really, really smart and meaningful ways. I love that game. And of course the story is so good and so heavy. Like, the simplest, most high stakes premise is Kasuga's looking for his biological mom in Hawaii, is like why he goes there. And then of course gets caught up in shit, meets people. Kazuma's there. Just an incredible.
You got parents and stuff?
Yeah, it's just an incredible, sweeping epic that is as funny as it is heartbreaking.
I don't know that I'll be able to get it in there, but I at least want to give, because I do think I would like it to be there, is Dragon Age the Veilguard. Which I know Lila bounced off
This
pretty
is
quickly.
all you, Blood. Unfortunately, I did not even touch
You're
this.
probably the only
You're gonna
person
make
that
me do
played.
this, man? I would.
Fight!
I truly do not think it deserves a nomination.
I don't see why. but Okay.
It is. The writing was so abrasive to me.
Yeah, and I tried to understand like where you were coming from on that, because even afterwards, I guess
Sorry,
people
I can
are
play this, guys.
like jokey sometimes. Is that it? Like
the tone is way off. They're constantly just repeating things that don't make sense in the moment, where they're like, "Oh, the elven gods are awake," and your character will have just told somebody that, but then they will explain who those elven gods are to you, and stuff like that will just repeatedly happen. There's cutesy writing where it's like, oh yeah, as if like elven gods coming back to life and demons and blah 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 weren't enough. I have to do this too. It's just like the tone was so bugaboo, and like, I thought that I don't know, it felt like baby's first RPG in a lot of ways to me. I don't know. I bounced off it pretty hard, and it made me angry for like 3 days because I was just so annoyed. Like, I don't want to shit on this game or whatever, and like the people behind it, I've met some of them, and they're super nice, and like there are a lot of things in the game that I liked, but like oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to try to relate to what bugged you, especially so hard, because for me, like, you remember when I saw like the beginning at Summer Game Fest, like from the get-go, like it's like, yeah, I'm like, I've never played Dragon Age, but I'm in for this, and it just kind of kept, like, there's some things like the combat I wish had developed more. I think after like the first third of the game, the combat didn't give me like more new stuff, but I really enjoyed like the moment-to-moment combat. I really, really enjoyed the characters and the character quests. If anything, I think that just there were so many things that got a little bit too split up. But like I was telling you about the Haunted Mansion thing with
Yeah, it sounds
Emmerich,
cool.
and like the choices that like I had to make with that dude. But when I get towards the end of his quest, and I'm like I had to like stop, and I had to like talk it out with my wife, and I had to like go around and eat for a while, and like even then it was like I had to like, okay, let me make it like split save files and see where each of these choices go for a little bit.
Saves coming.
Just to figure out what do I want to do. And I think, the characters are just a huge strength to me of the game. And then the variety of the world is a huge strength to me of the game, to where it's like they just kept, I would be so far into the game and went like, we're going somewhere new now, like, and I really liked a lot of the level design stuff, and I really felt that like, yeah, once you get to the end, that like a lot of those side quests and stuff like all kind of paid off and fit into the ending. But again, I know I'm alone on this game.
I mean, yeah, and I'm not trying to yuck your yum or whatever,
Yeah.
but like, it's just like, because I didn't like Inquisition, but I liked Origins and 2 or whatever, and like, this just like seemed like such a weird, it seemed like they didn't even know what they were doing, like, it seemed like they were a completely different thing, and like, especially compared to like Mass Effect 1 and 2, especially, like, Mass Effect 2 is just this like paragon of like characters that I give a shit about, and like every single character in this game, I like almost immediately I was like, well, I hate you, like you're really annoying.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like actively dislike the like girl who, like, the elf girl who was like,
yeah, I mean,
doing,
she's
like,
the one that I could maybe see, because she
mechanics
is a
and
little bit
stuff.
like the the
ditzy, like,
clumsy kind of, yeah.
but it's just like not, it's not endearing, it's not cute,
But
it was
I-
just annoying,
I
like,
just to me that's just her personality. But
yeah, it's annoying personality.
I don't think, okay, but yeah,
Keep it there. We'll see if it shakes out, blood. Keep it on the like.
Yeah,
the-
like I'm not
it's,
gonna
in the-
like,
it's waiting in the wings.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
like forbid it, because like that's ridiculous. But I it's an interesting specimen.
I also gotta say, like, the attention to detail in the environments and all of the places that they created, and the amount of life that there is in this game, because like when you do things and you make choices, like places change, like your home base changes pretty regularly, but then like
Which
there are places
existing
that-
in that realm is very strange narratively, but
yeah,
whatever.
no, I understand some of
Like,
that.
whatever.
But and just the, like, with so many games, like even like we were talking about Rebirth, like struggling to like figure out, like, it's like, no, this game you put it on performance mode and it looks great, like,
Put it on pro mode now.
right, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
you can make it
I-
look better now, but I'm saying is like I did not have like any kind of technical issues with that, even like pre-launch on a base PS5.
Yeah,
So
I enjoyed the art direction of it. I liked the look of it. I didn't.
the hair.
I didn't hate the combat. Like, the hair apparently was good.
Top
The hair
tier.
is like
Character creator.
next
character
level.
One of the
creator-
best I've ever seen.
The character creator was
ever.
god tier, and the
Yeah.
accessibility options were incredibly good. Like, that's my thing, is it's like, it's not, it's like
But I didn't get to play
literally
any more of
just,
it, so.
it's literally just the writing, like, for me. Like, everything else about the game, I'm like, yeah, cool. But, like, whatever it was, I don't know, like, it just rubbed me the wrong way, that particular, very weird.
Keep it in
Yeah.
the wings for now.
Yeah.
Circle back. I think Indiana Jones was low key one of the
Yeah,
best
I was
games
wondering
of the
about
year.
what you were thinking on that.
I think it's like there were very few games that I just could not stop playing. And Indiana Jones is absolutely one of those games that is just like quintessential AAA blockbuster of like this is just beautiful production values, slobbering everywhere. Top tier production values from top to bottom, just so addicting. Troy Baker, like unreal performance.
Yeah, it really surprised me.
Yeah.
That was one
Yeah,
thing
he
I
did
was
a good
not looking forward to was Troy Baker, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this actually works most
Yeah.
of the time. Yeah.
And I just think it has a really good story and just a like really good environments. I mean, these are some of my favorite environments to explore this year for sure. I think of the Vatican. I think of the snowy like U-boat set piece. Like it is equal parts Uncharted and Deus Ex, and I think that is a
Yeah.
really, really cool mashup to have this
I do think-
stealth action adventure immersive sim narrative driven, but also like just you just have like so much freedom. Like it is a narrative focused game, but it does feel like you have a lot of freedom of exploration specifically, which is nice.
I love the freaking food. You get different food
Yes.
in each area,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
as well as the
Yeah, just all the lore too of like the cultures and stuff, like
Yeah.
going to Egypt, just around the,
the
dig
lore
sites.
of Egypt. But yeah.
Yeah, like no, like real world history. Like
Yeah.
like I went down so many Wikipedia rabbit holes from this game where I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Let me hear about that. Like, oh, let me read about that.
I feel like it nailed the tone of
Yeah.
especially like
Pure fun.
the original 3 Indiana Jones movies. Like,
Yeah.
it feels correct
Yeah.
a lot of the time. Like the stealth gameplay, like I didn't super vibe with, but like the areas, the dialogue, the characters, especially like him and Marcus, like up
Yeah.
top too. I was just like, oh my god, this feels
Yeah.
like home, dude. I'm like, I love this.
In a
Yeah.
year with some incredible action games, his whip is my favorite weapon of 2024. Like that whip, dude. Like just walking around for no reason. I gotta crack it. I gotta just crack the switch.
I just love the ability to
I
knock a
accidentally
gun out
cracked
of
it into
somebody's
like a
hand.
priest's face. I was like, oh shit, sorry, man.
I,
Sorry,
like,
Blood, what were you saying?
the ability to knock a gun out of somebody's hand, like,
Dude, and, like,
is
pulling
just
'em.
one of those things that like you don't get in enough games. Like, so much of that is just like locked to their model or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to have those sort of physical interactions, and like, you know, if you smash a guy on a chair and the chair breaks, and
So cool.
Plus, disarming people is just so fun.
It's
Yeah.
Not
so
enough
cool.
games have disarming.
Dude, and like you'll hit the gun out of their hand and they'll go like, yeah!
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
yeah, no, it's super strong.
One of the just like truly one of the most fun games of the year. Like if we're going fun factor, I really put Indiana Jones like near the top.
The things that took it down a little bit for me is the Siam, the third main area,
Okay. Fair.
was a little bit of a chore to explore.
The
I think.
boat and the
Yeah.
swimming and
I think
stuff.
the ending was a little goofy. Like, I
Fair
don't
enough.
know.
I like the ending. Okay.
I don't want to get specifics,
yeah.
really, maybe. But
I think
like,
the ending is fine for me, but
the kick fight was a little silly.
I do think that the collectibles were hit or miss.
Oh
Like,
my god, I will say the final boss fight was fucking sick.
Yeah.
I will say that. Because, dude, I was harping about raising the difficulty on this game so you could actually engage with the fist fights. Because on normal, you'll just knock everybody out, no problem.
That was a complaint. Like, to me, maybe it was because I was playing on
Yeah,
normal.
you just knock everyone out.
Stealth was pointless.
Yeah.
You could just run through, punch every fascist in the face.
Everyone's
as you should,
down, yeah.
And then you're just fine. Like, yeah.
You crank it up one, and it's like, okay, I've actually got to dodge here, parry that, like all the little fighting arenas. So fun.
Really great mix of puzzles. Yeah, no, I think this has got to be in top 10.
I agree.
Yeah.
I fully agree. I think it's a total package, a game that appeals to the masses without talking down to them.
Yeah, that's true.
Huber, do we think Fear the Spotlight? I know you and I loved it.
I love it. I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
I mean, I
didn't get to put that much time into it, but I was
love it. It's an absolute personal favorite, but
it's partly personal stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fully goaty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 remake. What do we think of that?
Yeah.
I think it. Probably deserves to be in there.
I do as well.
It's incredible package.
I truly do.
I think
I think it's one of the best pure horror games ever made.
Easily.
I mean, and that's the remake. I mean, as well.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
like,
well, they took
following up one of the best games of all time with like another one of the best games of all. It's just like insane.
Well, because Silent Hill 2, like it's not the scariest game, and they made Silent Hill 2 very tense and very scary.
So scary.
Like especially the legs, mannequins,
oh my
especially
God.
in the prison. Like holy crap, dude.
Like not since Amnesia. Seriously. Like the feeling I get so happy when I'm done playing Silent Hill 2 and I turn the lights back on.
Yeah.
It is truly a relief.
Well, it's oppressive.
Yeah.
The game embodies the oppressive, and like guilty, depressed version. It's correct.
The sound, the music.
Top tier sound design. Like besides like COD, it's like maybe the best of the year.
I will say combat was good.
For a Silent Hill.
For a Silent Hill especially.
For a Silent Hill, the combat was incredible.
Yeah, combat was good.
And
but it's definitely the weakest link.
I don't even think so. I thought the combat was very good for what it was. Because They did a good job of making him still feel like just a guy swinging a board at some freaks.
Yeah.
And like, but you can dodge. And
for sure.
You can, like.
I don't think it changed enough from beginning to end. I think it just stayed the same of like, shoot him a couple times with the pistol in the head, dodge and hit him with the board. Like it had impact every time.
Yeah.
But like, by the time you get halfway through and you've got 70 bullets, and you're just kind of.
I think like, sure, like there wasn't a lot of scarcity on normal, but like, I think if they had wasted a bunch of time and energy on like some kind of evolving like combo system or like
that
would have been
necessarily
awful. That would have been it would have flown in the face of what the game is actually about.
And like the context is key, so you can't like do too much with the enemies and stuff. But,
and like so to me it's like I don't know what else you do, and if you did too much you would be ruining it. So I think like
for sure.
What they were able to do with the combat system just as the basics.
Yeah, I agree.
They nailed it.
Solid.
Like,
solid foundation.
The game feel of combat in that is very solid, I think. Yeah.
I agree.
All right, so that puts us to 10. So, do you want to go through this and see if...
There's a couple big omissions still.
See if we want to put anything over there.
UFO 50 not being on there feels wrong to me.
Stellar Blade is actually one of my favorite games of the year.
And
I really
isn't that
love
just the first 10 that we picked for the long list? Like, I think...
He's been putting them in numbers. Like, Blood has a whole secret game going in his head here.
Well, no, I mean, we've put 10 over there, but but...
We're making
we're
another...
Not done.
We're making the short
we
list now. We're making the short list.
We've put 12.
So it's like, at this point, it's like things that we put on are going to push out things that we have.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be thinking about top 10 right now.
We have to make a decision about what gets pushed off and what doesn't get pushed off.
We'll have those conversations as they pop up, I imagine.
Yeah. Like, I don't think you should be thinking about numbers right now.
No,
I agree.
Stellar Blade and Wukong are two of the biggest games of the year. I think that's an interesting discussion to be had. I'm 100% okay with Wukong not making the list.
Yeah. Stellar Blade is
I
cool.
will-
I don't know.
I will give just some lip service to Wukong because it was such a hyped game and nominated so many places. My argument against it is just the combat to me was just fine. I mean, this is an action game first and foremost. This is a game totally about the combat, especially considering a lot of the exploration is pretty limited. I know as you go on this, and again, unless I tell you I have not finished a game, I have finished it. As the game goes on, it definitely opens up. There are some bigger areas for exploration, but combat for me was good. It just started to drag a little bit and lose some of that impact. The game starts with some incredible highs, and they do a really nice job of balancing like difficult bosses and easier bosses, so you don't keep getting like hard stuck on fights. The progression is incredible. Every time I talk about this game, I think it is absolutely remarkable that you can play this game for like 60, 70 hours, level up 100 freaking times, and every single time you do, it matters and you feel it. Every single time you feel that upgrade. I love that there's a limited loot pool in the game, so every time you find or upgrade a piece of gear, it also matters. I just definitely got into a rhythm where I was like,
But you don't want it on the list?
yeah, because
Then don't talk about it.
it's one of the most important games of the year, so I know our audience wants to hear at least like 2 minutes about it. That's all
This
it
isn't
is.
for them.
It's also for me to kind of talk it out to make sure that I
Yeah.
don't think
Because
it.
you want Stellar Blade on there.
I think Stellar Blade is a superior game to Wukong for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the
definitely-
Wukong.
I haven't played Wukong, but I was surprised at how much I like Stellar Blade. I was surprised by how much I like exploration in that game.
Yup. I think Wukong gets a lot of love because of the Journey to the West gravitas
Yeah,
and the
sure.
legitimacy of Journey to the West, so it feels like it belongs in those GOTY discussions because Journey to the West is this epic legend,
Yeah.
whereas Stellar Blade is just like weird Adam and Eve alien sci-fi weird
Yeah, the
shit,
story
you
is
know?
like what the heck's going
So-
on for sure.
But I think just Stellar Blade, I love the exploration more. I love the characters more. Like everyone always talks about like Eve's looks. That was one of the biggest discussions of the year, for better or worse. But like
I mean,
I
I
just
do-
think Eve is just a badass character.
I
Like
agree. I think it's funny because like I've played a decent number of hours of this, and like I honestly think the like hypersexualized waifu nature of it flies in the face of the
it's the least-
qualities of the rest of
it's
the
the
game.
least interesting part. It's
Because the enemy
so
design
annoying.
is amazing.
Yeah.
The enemies are so freaky and weird.
It pissed
the
me off.
combat
Isla.
is pretty sick. The environments are super cool and like realistically realized, and then you just have this like ooh woo like titty monster running around, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Like, how does your butt shine that much?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like boob physics don't work like that. Like,
Well, it's just annoying because that's all
and
anyone
like
talks
I am
about.
attracted to women.
And it's like, I fucking love this
I
game.
enjoy it, but at the same time, it's like, god damn.
Dude,
like-
Eve's cool. Eve's really cool.
Yeah.
Very comforting, calming, badass presence.
Should I go through the bucket and see if there's anyone that wants to put something over on the other side?
I have a few I would just shout out.
I would love Stellar Blade on there, but I just don't know what.
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
mean
hit.
it's sort of like on the like up and comers. We'll see if we want to put, but I want to get stuff from the bucket over there. Like if there's stuff that like, all right, nobody really wants to push for it to be on the list, then we
Yeah.
don't need to worry. Like 1,000 Times Resist. Like
I mean, shout out.
I like
Sick game, but
it, and it's
Thousand
you know
Exorcists.
1,000 Times Resist. I like it. There's a lot to think about there. It is essentially like an expanded visual novel, but there's just there's a lot to dig into. With the
Yeah,
different
I'd probably
characters
just
and
rather watch
developments,
a movie or an anime.
but, maybe.
but I mean, like that's true to me of
Like,
a lot
for
of
real, though.
no, but that's true to me of a lot of AAA games too. Where it's like to me, I think aiming at the middle makes your game bad. So like,
I think
I would watch a video of
Don't
several
say it.
of these of what.
I know you wanted to say
I'm
Last
just
of
gonna
Us.
say-
I know you wanted to say it.
Oh, I played those, and I mean, there's a show that's better than the games, so.
But yeah, if there's no one that it hit hard enough for move over there, I think it's okay. Another Crab's Treasure is really cool, but I don't necessarily feel like it needs to be on the list. Yeah.
7.9, honestly, for me. It has
Really?
Yeah. It went on a little
Another
too
Crab's
long.
Treasure?
That game was long as hell.
It is
dude.
definitely longer than I expected,
It
but I was
was long.
surprised
Yeah.
by how cool the later stuff is.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think Another Crab's Treasure is a feat of like environmental design. Like it's
Yeah.
so interesting looking.
So
But
cool.
also, I found some of the enemies so frustrating that I like wanted to hurl my controller across the room, not in a fun way.
Yeah, there's some frustration
but-
in that game.
Yeah, and like I loved it. I really did love it. But I would nominate it for environmental design, but probably not for Game of the Year.
Great call. Yeah, to make a whole game underwater, like, fun.
And all
Yeah.
the like use
Wild.
of trash and stuff is
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah, it's
cool.
so
And the
smart.
shell.
Yeah.
So
The shell
cool.
system is
brilliant.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great game.
And Huber missed the trick with the big boss out in the open.
I know.
Wait, what?
You can, like,
He's like allergic to something or something like that. So if you
Find it,
if you
yeah.
have a shell that he eats, then
Oh.
he'll take off like a bunch of his health.
A Demon Souls-esque
yeah.
boss.
Yeah,
That's
there's an NPC that tells you. Yeah.
I just kept
Some of
running
those,
away.
what are those like big crabs? The like with the really long legs.
Oh, the spider crabs. Yeah. You're
At
talking about the
the
very later
end.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually sucked, and I just
Oh, I really like that.
I hated that because they would just like laser you and kill you immediately, and you couldn't escape. So I just got the gun and I shot them all.
Love
Oh,
it.
That's
The
the
gun
other-
is so funny.
that is
The gun
hilarious
is
for
so
accessibility. Yeah.
fun.
It's so funny. You can literally put a handgun on your back
Oh,
and just
that's
start
funny.
shooting
It
everything.
just shoots backwards.
It's just a one-shot
It-
kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
One shot kill, yeah. So like I liked fighting the bosses, but like when there was an area I just couldn't get through and was annoyed about, or like I died like right before I got to something I really, needed to get to, I would just be like, oh fuck this, and I'd put the gun on my back.
So
And it's like huge. It's a huge pistol on your back.
so funny.
Yeah. I like that area, but I definitely feel like this is like
At the risk
Yeah.
of again making myself the villain, that we could talk about this stuff during the stream. If we know we're not putting it on the list,
Sure,
I
sure,
do
sure.
think we should probably prioritize spending time actually talking about the stuff we need to talk about today.
sure.
Yeah.
Not trying to be a bitch,
No.
but like we're on game 2 out of 40, and if we talk about them all at length, we won't finish.
No. Okay, keep going.
I think I'm the only one that got to play Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus.
Played like 5 hours.
Oh, that's right. You did
Yeah.
get to play the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Very cool. But I'm okay if it's not quite on the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Crow Country was freaking cool.
Love
Crow Country's
Country, yeah.
phenomenal.
Very similar
Very good
feeling.
game.
Phenomenal game. I love Fear the Spotlight.
I
Teeny
would
bit
give it
more,
to, if
but-
it were down to those, I would give it to Fear the Spotlight.
Yeah.
But those two are very, very good.
Top tier
Yeah.
indie horror.
So good.
Destiny 2, the final shape, I have no idea.
I just wanted to give it a shout out because I thought it was a cool campaign. The Destiny people are probably like freaking out, spitting their drinks out right now, because the campaign was super cool, but then it just kind of died. Like Destiny's not in a good spot at all right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so it's kind of
Yeah.
dead.
Feels
The
like
game's-
it's over.
Yeah, it does. And
You're giving it its flowers.
It feels like the people that made the final shape just don't work there anymore.
yeah.
It's almost as if
Yeah.
historic layoffs.
I just want to say the campaign was really cool, and the art direction is next level. Some of those environments, dude, unreal. Like, you just stand there in awe. Like, Bungie going out with a bang, flexing.
All right, I got a hard one, Huber. Dragon Quest 3.
Damiani's gonna chime in here. This is absolutely one of the best games of the year, no question.
So we need to put it over there?
I think you could put that there and take Black.
I was gonna have a
based
butt.
on what
Okay.
Hubert was saying.
I was gonna have a but.
What is it?
The story is just fine. I mean,
Right.
the game still feels old. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, it's one of my favorite games of the year, no question. But I don't know if it is GOTY. What do you
Yeah.
think, Damiani?
Yeah, I mean, I've played a fair amount of this too, and like, I really like it, but I don't really have the push that I feel like it needs to be on the list.
Yeah. What do you think,
Wow, I'm
Damiani?
surprised by this. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I also think because it's like a remaster of an older game,
Yeah.
it's that should be given consideration as well. Yeah, it just made a game from the Famicom era actually a little bit more accessible for modern audiences, like people like me who like if you
Yeah, there's
never
some
really
great stuff
play
for
it,
that.
you'd probably be like, what am I like? This game would be, I hate to say it, like if you didn't grow up with this would probably be really difficult to get into if you tried to play the original one without
Yeah.
outside assistance. So this definitely helped a lot, and I think it's a good template for them to revisit these older games and paint them in a new light. But yeah, I think few things like the story is like what it is. It's like an
Yeah.
old school, very simple story. I mean, not too simple, but also not like very compelling. And then the game it can get really, despite all of its modern additions, it can still get a little daunting, especially towards the end. Like you still gotta like grind out. You really gotta pay attention to certain things, and it's still can get like pretty overwhelming at the end. I was like, oh my gosh, like why? This is why I don't like. I was like, I'm glad we don't have like grinding as like it's like
Dude,
a staple you expect to have to do now
Yeah.
in like RPGs. It's like you're at the part of the game where you must grind for hours. I'm like, oh, we did this already. I don't want it again. And it's like you could, and then the funny story. Remember the one I told you on the podcast, Huber, about the troll. If you turn on the easy difficulty, but stumble in one of those post game dungeon enemies,
So
you can't
funny.
you can't leave and die. So you're just stuck there for hours. Like, what is this
no.
punishment? This is so mean. You really
So
like,
funny.
like please learn to fight correctly was like the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I really enjoyed my time with it, and I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
think I was gonna play through all of it, let alone try and do some of the extra stuff at the end. So yeah, it's definitely worthy of the praise and recognition, but I don't know if it quite makes it to like the top
Yeah.
10 games of the year.
I'm right there with you, Damiani.
Cool. We already talked about Erdtree. I think we're fine on that. Spotlight, I think we basically talked about.
The spells real quick in Dragon Quest 3. The
Okay.
abilities you can use to explore and stuff like that stuff is like also an amazing thing. Job system amazing. That stuff is amazing.
Yes.
Please rely on more of that for like future Dragon Quest and also Final Fantasy. Please look at that shit. It's so good. Anyway, done.
Hell yeah. Damiani, I don't know if you know this, man. Just a little Easter egg. The zoom spell when you're in a dungeon,
Yeah.
you can just like zoom out to a town or something. In the originals, Damiani,
You hit your head.
you would
on
hit your head on the ceiling. You would have to
Oh.
leave the dungeon and then zoom.
Funny.
That's kind of
Yeah.
cute.
Usually you could just like evac. Evac was the spell, so you'd evac then zoom.
Yeah,
but
you
like
have evac,
they made
yeah.
it just like easier, streamline it. But yeah, you used to hit your
Okay.
head. Your character would be like, oh.
Okay, that's pretty cute. Yeah, they've done some stuff like in Final Fantasy, like exit. Like sometimes you did like a row. Anyway, yeah, that's cute.
Fun.
I don't think any of us really got to put the time into Frostpunk 2 that I would
Not
like.
enough.
Yeah.
Shout out though.
Yeah, I did definitely wanted to put it in there just for the shout out because
Yeah.
what I played from the preview was great.
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 is one though.
Helldivers
We wanna put that over there.
man. Helldivers 2. It feels like bad not putting it on, but at the same time, like
I mean, we'll talk about it in best multiplayer. Like
It
it'll
absolutely-
probably win that. Like,
yeah, it is absolutely one of the best co-op games of the year, no doubt, no doubt.
But like, yeah, I'm fine with it getting that and not worrying about it for this.
Okay.
Yeah, for me personally, I just got like I love it. Every single time I play that game, I'm just like, man, I need to play more of this. Like this is a 10 out of 10. But also I get tired of it quickly.
Yeah.
You know? Like the missions are pretty long, they're pretty hardcore, they can go on for like 30, 40 minutes. Like I do one mission and I'm honestly exhausted, which is cool because that game is like overwhelming and exhausting and you know, it's meant to be, but yeah. For me, I just didn't have like the obsession.
Got it. I Am Your Beast is another one that I was the only one that got to play. I think I do still want you to put some time in if you get a chance, because I really, really like this game.
Yeah, it looks sick.
It does look cool.
It definitely my pick for like best racing game. I think there's a lot of elements like Neon White.
Yeah.
You know, to where it's just like you get on a level and you just start experimenting and playing around, and you just like trying to find the fastest way to get to that level, and then like when you beat the level, then you get the new objectives. And like I legitimately think that like you could actually play through the story of the game in, I don't know, like an hour or two. But I'd spent so much more time than that, just because there's so much to like get out of it. Just like really well-defined, refined gameplay with fun little gimmicks, like, you know, being able to knock down a wasp nest on a bunch of guys.
So sick.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it towards the bottom of the other side,
Yeah.
because I do feel pretty strongly about it, but I know that
Cool.
like, yeah, I don't know that I definitely have to put it in the top 10 with everything that's on there, but Kunutsugami.
Cute game, special. Feels like a game that we lost to time.
Yeah.
You know?
Just wanted to give it a shout out, but that's
Yeah.
all.
Okay. Yeah, I feel kind of similar. Life is Strange. It's cool. Didn't really move the needle that
Oh.
much.
That's my top 10 letdowns of 2024, Blood.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, first I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked it, but like the stakes are so high with Max, like I need to love it, and I was just like, yeah, it's fine, TM.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it here, but I also am not sure whether I want where they're going or I don't.
Yeah,
What
Is
they're
it
building
finished?
up
Is it
to.
out?
Yeah.
that whole game is out. Yeah.
Okay.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is a game that I think probably should be over there, but I have not played more of.
It absolutely, I think, should be. It's a beautiful, like, genius video game. I was talking to Blood, like, I'm probably like 80% of the way through it. Like, I almost
Nice.
finished it, and then we got sidetracked with other stuff for work. And it's just
Always.
it's one of those games where if you
Always.
put it down for a week, you come back and you're like, this is all in a different language. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes,
What am I doing?
sometimes literally in a different
They
language. and
sent
you're
me a
like,
notebook
right, and
with
like,
specific things, not just blank pages.
so like it's absolutely a genius video game. But yeah, like, we would have to argue for a while to get into the top 10. So
Well, I've got it over there in case we'll come back around to these that are left
Shortlist.
over. Yeah.
Love the short list.
Marvel Rivals, I don't think anyone's gunning for. We just want to have recognition, right?
Yep. Shout out.
Concord.
Hottest game right now.
Rivals is cool.
Neva was really, really cool visually. I like it a lot. I don't know. I just don't have that pull to like, oh, this has got to be.
Yeah, it's not like in the inside levels of.
yeah,
But man, just visually, just what the
Shout out.
some of those scenes, just the artistic. Nine Souls, Huber.
Dude, Nine Souls is so fucking sick. Isla, you'd love this game.
Yeah,
I like it, but at times that I actually do kind of feel like it's too hard.
It is brutal. It is, but the good thing about the difficulty, Blood, is that it softens. You get
Okay.
stronger,
Got
you
it.
get better. Like, the game truly starts off at the hardest point for like a little while. After you get like 4 or 5 hours in and you start learning everything and unlocking things and just leveling up your character, like, you really feel that, and the game does like chill a bit. Of course, a couple bosses are insane, but it's really, really good game. Incredible Metroidvania. It's basically Sekiro cross Metroid.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you feel strongly to move it over, or?
like a short list. By the time I finished it, I wasn't. My life hadn't changed. But it is definitely one of the best like Metroidvanias I've played in a long time, and I've played quite a few lately.
I've played quite a few this year,
Yeah.
and that like it's an insane RPGs and Metroidvanias
Yeah.
this year, man.
Yeah.
Like even stuff that like I didn't even put on this list, like Ultros. It's like, okay, this game is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but it's also doing some really crazy stuff
Yeah.
that like I don't even want to get into because it's like you could miss that. You could just
Yeah.
beat the game and it's like, oh no, there's a whole other side of this that yeah.
Short list my girl Fear of the Spotlight, man. If this
Yeah.
is getting a short list, come
Short.
on. Short list Fear of the Spotlight.
Nine Souls 2, the
Even though we'll take it off later, just put it over there so I can see it.
story is really good. Like,
Yeah.
there is a lot of religion and philosophy, and your character can do questionable things at times, and
I like the
it's
intro that a
super
lot of people are
nuanced.
down on.
Huh?
Yeah. The intro that most people are down on, I actually like that intro.
There's a lot of good stuff. Like, meeting that dude and sharing, like, poison tea with him all the time is super fun. You have your little hub world, like, hub
Yeah, your little
base,
apartment.
and you can, like, upgrade that. Like,
Mhm,
it's a really strong game. Absolutely. And just, like, the dodging and parrying feels so good. It's so nice. Except there's, like, 2 different parries, and it's fucking hard.
It's so hard.
There's, like, a quick
Damn, it's
parry,
so
and then a
freaking
parry that
hard.
you need to hold and release.
Oh, weird.
It's like, oh my god.
That's a no thanks for me.
It's tough. It is tough.
Pacific Drive is so good.
I'm in that game.
You're in that game. Yeah, I think just to play it safe, that may be reason enough to not put it
Oh, sure.
Quite on
Yeah,
the
I mean, I
list.
guess. And I'm
Conflict
like,
of interest.
I'm like friends with the people who made it, so
Yeah, but
it's sick though.
It
Like,
is-
that game is cool as hell.
it is definitely like a great vibes game here, and I still
Yeah.
like.
I got like 3-4 hours in, and I
Did you?
I need to go back.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah, because I do feel like it's got such a great loop of just like getting out there and being in the unknown.
I should
and
stream this.
Yeah, I thought
was
you
I
going
need
going
to
to,
finish
yeah.
it. I haven't finished it.
Yeah, I need to stream it.
and scavenging and like finding the upgrades and deciding like what things at your base to like invest in,
So cool.
you know, and really
And they-
like looking for those goals.
They
Yeah.
put out a patch that lets you basically customize, like granularly customize the difficulty of the game.
Sick.
Where it's like you can decrease the cost of crafting stuff. You can make things like this and that and that. So if any part of the game is bothering you,
Yeah.
or like, because I do think like
There are some systems that
level-
were not clear when
some
I
of the
played it, and
systems
I
are
think
a
they
little
probably adjusted
unclear
that a little
or
bit.
like
Yeah.
a little too hefty.
Like with the map, it was like, oh, I can just skip over. I didn't realize that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that either. But yeah, like they let it so you can dial all that in, which I think is really smart. Like that's cool.
Just the whole idea that like, yeah, you drive around this haunted car
Yeah,
and,
such a
like
cool premise.
diagnosing all of the quirks with the machine.
Great premise.
And like, you know, because that was the thing. Like, I it took me a while to realize that like, why are my lights going out? You know, it's like it's like you know, you like close the door and your trunk pops open. And
Yeah.
Just like crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Such good variety this year, dude.
Yeah,
It's so
Yeah.
sick.
Oh,
So sick.
okay. Now here's a blind spot for me because this probably needs to be over there. Prince
Damiani!
of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Better than Nine Souls. I like it more
Well,
than Nine Souls.
That's easy enough then. Swap them.
I seriously, like,
Yeah.
this game is
Well, it's a
so
long list.
good.
Just keep it.
This game is
Hey.
unreal good.
Yeah, if you play both and you're saying Lost Crown's
Yup.
better, then
I like it
Yeah.
more. That might be a hot take, I'm sure the
Yeah, it's a better
internet
one,
will
but,
say,
like,
but
Lost Crown was really good. And
Yep.
as you were just talking about customizing difficulty settings, this
Mm-hmm.
thing won the Game Awards for accessibility, right? Because of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything you could tweak, like hundreds of options. And I really wish more games would do something like that. Has the preset difficulties for people who just like, I want easy, normal,
Mm-hmm.
hard, or like super hard, whatever it was called. But if you pick one of those and you're feeling like, man, not quite, like, you know, it's not gelling with me, you can go in there and like start, you know, messing with stuff, and everything can be undone. It's not like you change this, your file's locked out.
Everything
Like
can
I
be
hate shit like that.
undone.
I hate games that do
Yeah.
that. this is a diss to 2025 with Nintendo, with Donkey Kong Country Returns, with modern and classic setting. So once you pick it, you can't change it. I'm like,
Wow.
That's some OG Nintendo shit.
Yeah.
God
that's
dang.
like dumb. Anyway,
Yeah.
this like it gets shut out because I keep using the example, like changing parry and dodge windows. It's like I wanted enemies to still be aggressive against me. It's just I felt I was not very great at the reaction time for, especially for parries, and it felt like you really on
Console
boss
parries.
encounters you really need to get good at parrying and to feel like you're doing a good job in those boss fights. And giving me an extra leeway for those helped me feel like I can do this. I can overcome these bosses because the bosses are meant to be challenging in this game.
Yeah.
And you're gonna die a lot, but I think if you can at least see the light at the end of the tunnel as you would go against them, and that's where I settled on that Griffin boss is the first big one.
Yeah.
Such a great first boss because it seems so overwhelming, but it's really once you finish it, you're like, that actually isn't that bad, especially to what comes later on. And if you're adjusting those settings, it's like you can kind of tailor it to a way that you feel like it's within your your skill window, and that you still feel it was meaningful, there was tension, and you feel gratification and reward for completing it. Whereas someone else is like, if I played that way, that's too easy, but you can crank it up. And it's not like you only have 4 options to choose from. You have so many different ways. It's this, are you going to put the time in and mess with those things? But even without that, you can turn it down and enjoy the traversal, figuring out where to go. The
one of the best
hours you
controlling
have.
games of the year.
It feels
so good. It feels so good.
And
Nice.
the platforming segments,
Dude!
Such good platforming segments, the
So
specific ones
good.
that are about challenge with
Yeah.
spikes coming at you from all different
Yeah,
angles.
so
So
sick.
you gotta keep moving, or the ones where they bait you. It's like, oh, you gotta slow down for a little bit. If you're just spamming, you're gonna you're gonna die. Vanishing platforms, alternating. When you get that power, you can alternate platforms. It just it gets pretty creative with that stuff. And I think, despite not having a true time rewind mechanic like the Sands of Time trilogy,
going
they still
back into
kinda
your body
captured that
thing.
they still had a spirit of
It's
that
so
type
fun.
of system without, which I would say it was creative then, but it would all but trivialize a lot of the difficulty in this game if you could just let me just undo that and rewind it. It's nah, you have some abilities that can maybe bail you out once or twice, but otherwise you're gonna have to learn to do these sequences, And if not, and the other thing, if not, there's literally you just drop a thing that says, I hate platforming, but I love the combat. I just want to fight enemies. I just want to fight bosses. I don't care how hard the bosses are. Make them insanely hard, but I suck at platforming. You can just drop a thing that says, skip every hard platforming segment and just go to the combat.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
They really just let you play how you want to play. It's
Yeah.
okay, there's no problem with that. That's awesome. And
Totally,
music was
dude.
good. I like the characters. Story is pretty simple, but I mean I really like the lead protagonist in this game.
He's
and
so
the
good.
environments. The environments, man. The frozen wave part in that one pirate cove area.
Forgot about that.
That was I was and it was just fun trying to figure out secrets and different paths where to go. And even again, the Metroidvania part of it. If you don't like trying to figure out where to go, you can just turn on things that will you go over here. You can go over here. I mean, they and you can get more granular. You can turn it off, but you also have the token system, every other Metroidvania has place something.
Love
where it's
that.
but there's
Oh,
the
yeah,
so
mechanic,
clean.
which lets you take the screenshot. So it's what was
Yeah.
that token there? Oh, maybe I wrote a note, but I don't remember what the hell that note means.
Really smart.
Screenshot the damn thing
That's
and be
great.
oh,
That's so
it's
good.
that room. I remember
Oh,
that.
that's
So
smart.
good.
Great game.
Good stuff. Yeah.
The pace of it, I think, is why I kind of like it more than Nine Souls.
Yeah.
It's just there's a sense of urgency to Prince of Persia. That Nine Souls can be a little meditative, which I also love. Just a little more slower paced, methodical, meditative, whereas Prince of Persia was just adrenaline, man. Just constant momentum, constant progression, just
Yeah. Well, and I think
Movement, you're just
what I think that
moving.
Damiani is kind of alluding to is that I think from what I've played of Prince of Persia, that it's definitely a challenging game, but it's not soul crushing like Nine Souls. Yeah.
yeah. Nine Souls
Yeah.
does have difficulties. You can put it on easy.
Yeah, and last thing, like enemy progression. Like enemies do evolve as you get to new zones in the Lost Crown. And
Yeah,
force
that's
you
what
to
Nine
kinda,
Souls
like,
didn't do enough as well.
Yeah,
Started to drag
reevaluate.
out.
Like the second zone, like the jungle forest zone, where the dudes are like doing like bouncing on like
Backflips and
sticks and doing
shit,
backflips
yeah.
and like down dragoon thrust moves and stuff. And then like later, like in the more
The guys
like,
with shields.
like the shield dudes, and then like the royal area where like the flying enemies. It's like you got to learn to like fight like with aerial combat. It's like it's like everything is fair game, and it's kind of nice to see those enemies keep changing up their dynamic
100%.
so that you have to figure out how to use your toolkit a little bit, and also like everything else all these games do, like the emblems. What are they called? What do we all call them? The tokens. You pick
Badges.
the things. Badges. Thank you. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Badges. The forge system. Like, dude, I don't know if it's necessarily we call it economy, but like upgrading your stuff is not very
Yes,
often.
dude.
And you
Yes.
picking what you want to upgrade, I think, is more like meaningful choices for
I
that.
agree.
When you
I
get access
agree.
to that. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Love that game. Feel good hit of the year, dude. Like that's God, I love that game.
Rise of the Golden Idol, I didn't get super far into. I think it's probably okay not to be on the full list, but
Yeah, I finished it. It's better than the first game.
Nice.
But yeah, doesn't need to be on there. Just wanted to acknowledge it.
Slitterhead I got several hours into, but
Slitterhead is cute and fun and vibey.
didn't get that
Coming
deep.
for you, best seven.
Nice
Yeah.
little cult classic there.
Easy best 7.
Yeah. Similar Stalker 2, I don't know, probably like 8 or 10
Yeah.
hours, but not that deep into the zone, unfortunately.
Sorry, yes, same.
And also, it's, I know they've worked on it a lot since I've last played it, but
Yeah.
it's, it did come out still a bit rough.
yeah, it
even
needs a
after the
pro
delays.
patch for sure.
The pro patch. I was playing on PC. SteamWorld Heist 2.
Yeah, I played a lot of this. I love this team. I love
Hell yeah.
SteamWorld.
SteamWorld.
SteamWorld Heist 2 is just, if you liked Heist, you're going to love this because it's more and better.
More and better.
I'm ready for a Dig 3.
Totally solid.
Totally
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
Totally solid.
Great game.
Mario Party Jamboree.
Is the best Mario Party ever made.
So should we put it over there? That's the
Yes, I want to give it respect. I absolutely want to give it respect that it
I'm okay
deserves.
with that.
This is a franchise that has phoned it in,
question. Yep.
that has broken promises.
They
Yes.
definitely phoned it in on the previous one or the one before that.
Yes. They were resting on their laurels, and Super Mario Jamboree is absolutely a return to form and a high bar now for this entire franchise that has been around for decades now. Plenty of maps. I mean, 7 maps doesn't sound like a ton, but it absolutely is a very good number.
Especially when they have like really well themed and
Yes.
interactive map differences.
Yeah, they all
Like,
feel
they feel
so different.
Yeah.
It's like there are some Mario parties in the past where it's like the maps barely feel different from each other.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, the trees are what moves the map around this
Yeah.
time instead of the thwomps. Like,
This one you can
cool.
go 3 ways instead of just 2.
Yeah, like they barely
feels
felt
like-
different.
It feels like the like Super Smash Brothers Ultimate of Mario Party.
Absolutely.
Like, everyone
Culmination.
is here.
Yeah, everyone-
Culmination.
Culmination.
Yes.
Well, it's
Just
funny
the
that you say that
mall
because
is
that was kind of the previous Mario Party. But
was the
now,
idea of it, yeah.
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 So now
But it
it's
was
like this
not
one's actually
good,
the next
right?
step.
Yeah.
It was,
No, the
it was
previous
good.
one was
It
good.
the
They
the
just
previous
stopped
one was
supporting
good.
it immediately.
The one before that was
Oh.
not very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this
So-
the third one on Switch?
at least.
That's
Crazy.
crazy.
That is crazy. I thought it was
Yeah.
2. Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah. Wow.
Because I remember All Star was good, but the one before that was
It's
like
Super
eh.
Mario Party, All Stars, and then Jamboree,
Okay.
and then you
Got
have the NSO stuff.
God,
Right.
It's so good. God, I love it.
Tekken 8 is one that I think, like, probably from an objective standpoint, it probably could be up there, but I
So they
have
say.
not put in the
This
time.
is our this is our game
Yeah.
of the this is our
I
awards.
really
We don't
liked what
know.
I played.
You
I've
say
not
and
really
they
put a lot of time into
say,
Tekken
but
before.
we don't know to
Best
say.
game we
Clive.
haven't played.
Yeah,
I mean, we
we're
did play
sorry.
some,
Clive?
but yeah,
They added
Would love to-
Clive.
Yeah, dude.
another game that
Best
like
usage of Clive.
Yeah, that's just a
Tekken
Ben
8.
Star.
This doesn't help now, but I promise I'm gonna get hardcore into Virtua Fighter. That'll be the fighting game that I'm in on.
Shiver. I liked it, but I don't think I liked it enough for the list. Thank goodness you're here.
Yeah, there's like
It's really it's
One
actually
cool
fun.
game.
Yeah.
absolutely. This is like you go to your local indie theater to see a foreign film. That is yeah.
Gabby,
this game-
Gabby, it literally has
Yeah.
subtitles
I
because
played
you
it,
do
I
not.
played it.
Okay, yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
BAFTA, the British BAFTA people were even like, "Yo, there are things in this game that we didn't understand
Yeah.
because of regional
It's so
differences."
specific.
Yeah, because the north is
region.
Yeah.
basically another planet. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, just a really, really fun for me to just see that. I love different cultures and things that I just don't know about. So it was just a really cool game. Like, some of the comedy obviously was completely over my head. But for the most part, I thought that game was just really clever, really cool, really unique. Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
this is a best game to play in one night,
Yeah.
but not a game of the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which I think I might have liked more than some of the others, but
More than Tears of the Kingdom?
not more than Tears. I mean, more than like.
That's what I
Damiani
thought you were
and-
going to say. That is what I thought you were about to say.
It didn't appeal to me, but like I've been waiting to play a Zelda for 1,000 years, and then I saw this and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll save
good.
my $50.
Maybe
Yeah,
I don't want
I-
to play
yeah.
Zelda.
I didn't really want to stack beds up.
No.
You know?
No,
I just didn't want to.
Too many things to the familiar things or whatever to the laundry list of things. Like I think the creativity kind of like
Nintendo
it's
thing.
great, and like I think where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom do it like a little bit better is that you can take things around you and then get creative with them versus like storing all of it and then having to like reproduce it. Like it's like a not like quite like crafting, but
Conjure.
like it's conjure. Yeah, exactly. And it's like that seems a little like much. And then obviously you start using things at work and like you kind of stick with it. I don't feel like it fosters as much creativity.
Improvisation.
Yeah, that's the better
Yeah.
word. Yeah, than the other ones because the other ones kind of like start pushing back against some of like the commonly used things early on and like force you to be a little bit more diverse. And this one, you could like bed stacking or stacking with, like any kind of like normal object, and it's like, oh, you just get around so much by this. And then on top of that, the I don't think their combat solution was the best. It was serviceable, but I think it was ultimately like kind of at a detriment to the larger game design in terms of like it didn't need to be like done that way. They could have like at least, I mean, yes, she can summon the swordsman ability with like a meter that you can enhance so you can keep using it a lot longer, but it's like Zelda can't she use like the magic to like fight with magic? Can she do like cool stuff? Oh, you could summon other enemies to fight for you, and like you're relying on like their enemy AI to behave the way you want, and then you like gotta like learn to like train it like I need to place it here so like it faces this. It gets a little cumbersome basically, and while it works, I think like it's a good starting point for maybe building upon and refining if they want to like try this again, but it ultimately I don't think it had everything in order as well as say Breath of the Wild, which was like its blueprint for what they would build upon going forward with Tears of the Kingdom. That felt a little bit more complete and fully realized, where this felt honestly where there was just like too much thrown into it and let's see what works, and then we're gonna like next one, if we do another one, look at all this shit we put in here. We don't need all of this. Like we can take away some of that. And it's nice to see them rely on nostalgia. Like this is like a staple of Zelda, and I will never say no to seeing like in a Link to the Past map, like always modernized and done in like modern visuals, whatever the aesthetic might be. But they're also starting to like kind of over rely on this a little bit, and I think on the heels of Breath of the Wild's overworld being like the template for Tears of the Kingdom, it's like now, hey, we're getting a new Zelda that's like not in that style of that, and it's we're also reusing a idol from another older Zelda game. It's like, all right, I feel like they like with the world design, it wasn't like literally one-to-one reuse, but like
No.
it would be nice to see something that doesn't like Death Mountain's not in the north, like it's not down here. Like, can we just like do something? Like, it doesn't even have to be in Hyrule. Like, I just need to feel like I think there is, as it's weird to say about this game, it feels like it's playing it maybe a little bit too safe at times, honestly.
Well, I think like we've all seen Zelda be a badass, you know.
That's
like,
my thing. She's differently capable, sure, but she is capable.
Yeah,
Like,
but
yeah.
like we've seen Sheik and we've seen
Yeah.
we've seen Zelda bust ass in Smash Brothers and
yeah.
all kinds of stuff, and like so I've just found it a little bit irritating that this game was about her like stacking beds.
That was kind of my thing too, where it's like girls can fight too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was almost like Princess Peach Showtime's gameplay mechanic should
Yeah.
have been in Echoes of Wisdom. Like,
Yes.
like because they already did the costume stuff in Triforce Heroes. Like maybe take that concept and turn it into this, and like where there's different
Dress
fighting
spears,
styles
dude.
for Zelda. Yeah, it's like
Spears.
Dress spears.
you want to like do that because as you said, like yeah, you had like Sheik, a badass ninja who used stealth and
Yeah.
melee combat, and then like we've had her be Tetra, like a pirate with a sword who can like who's like a leader who's like ordering people around, so it's like part strategy but also part like adventure and like sword combat as well. And then go from you could definitely think of a lot more cool stuff. Like we've literally all been saying, like, she's using magic, why can't I like cast magic?
Why can't I
spells?
use
Like,
magic?
why can't I throw fireballs or some shit?
I'm literally a witch. Why can't I do
Yeah.
that?
She uses
Chain
a bow and
lightning,
arrow in
dude.
other games. Like, why can't I shoot? Like, what? She's like an archer in other games. Now she can't. I was like, by default.
It's
I was
such
like,
a baffling decision.
Yeah, it's weird.
like, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing no.
It's so funny. I liked it. I 100%ed it. But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it's weird because like I really enjoyed experimenting with it all like in the moment, but it's in a weird way. Like looking back on it, it didn't stick with me as well as a lot of other games this year.
I was very appreciative of.
I got all the smoothies, even Damiani.
I did too. I did all that. I did 100% it. I even went out and bought an extra amiibo to get the cool one of the alternate outfits, but they don't change anything mechanically. It just you can change their appearance. It's like, oh, okay. But I thought maybe it would do something else, but it didn't. But I do appreciate like this had more traditional style dungeons than Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. So it was definitely scratching that itch, even if I would still kind of want them to go back to having a dungeon where there is still like a handful of set items that will be needed to accomplish it versus having they do ensure that you will have a way to like copy certain things that you have. If you didn't get something before the dungeon, you'll have the ability to have that item in there. I still don't like that. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, using the copy system to solve the dungeons. Even though I did like the layout and the puzzle themes of them, like that was a nice return. I just need them to do that in the full 3D ones at some point, and we really need to get like fixed items back at some point. Like I just miss those damn awesome items that do cool shit. Like I get there are people who are more creative than me that love taking random stuff and building things, but it's like, I just want my damn hook shot back. Give me my hook shot so I can hook shot to cool places, and give me back maybe like the spin thing from Twilight Princess to like go on like on rails, like look like I'm skateboarding. Like, I don't know. I miss some of the classic Zelda items, and it's been quite a while now since we've seen some of them. Like I think Link's Awakening in 2019 was the last time we saw a lot of like the more traditional stuff. So please bring some of that back. I'd love it.
Cheever, Outlast Trials?
Not Goaty, but absolutely one of my favorites of this year. Just shout out to making a co-op horror game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So creative.
It's not easy. Yeah, it's so creative.
Another super hard freaking game.
Yeah, the community is incredible. There's actually like a legit overarching narrative that never gets in the way, but it's there if you want. And then arm wrestling. Arm wrestling
Right.
people. It is so addicting. Everyone just arm wrestling. Like, it is such a good community. Every time I play that game, every single time, people, whether they're on mic or not, are so friendly and so helpful. You will be playing in silence and someone will just come up to you and heal you or like drop an item in front of you. Like, it has that old school just video game fun community vibe.
We're all here to have fun.
Yeah. And then of course, upgrading your room. You have your little room.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Little
can
dorm
decorate
room.
the walls and the bedding and
Your
it's just
cell.
yeah, it
Your
is.
cell, yep.
It is a
It
really
is.
cool game.
It's true.
And just a shout out, one of my favorite things is when a franchise will let you play in a different way. So we have Outlast 1 and 2 that are these single player, super scary horror games, and then now this is a way to just play it a different style, like multiplayer with friends. So
Full frontal nudity with friends.
full frontal nudity, for sure.
Saturday night,
Dicks
baby.
out for Outlast.
Yeah, they're out.
Unicorn Overlord.
Oh, I don't think it might make the list. It's very, very good though.
Yeah, I
Okay.
gotta play that one, dude. That's my biggest regret.
Yeah,
I would love that game, Damiani.
It's just
Fuck.
yeah, just another good, another like solid effort from Vanillaware, and honestly, just a very unique game. And I think it is. There's a lot of depth there. You might like. It's surprising because the unique thing, real quick, is just the battle system. Like everything, once you pick settings in like your strategy menus and stuff like that, and what character comps you have, the battle just plays out. You have no control once that
Whoa.
begins. So like you gotta like pick like abilities.
So
like,
it's
gear,
what is
like,
it in 12 gambits? Is just gambits?
It's way more comprehensive than Gambit.
Okay.
You have like multiple units, and you have like grids that you can like make the grids bigger as you progress through the game, and you place units on those grids, and then those teams you can send them out into the battle. You pick which team you want to go against which enemy group.
So that's why
and,
it's called Overlord.
Yeah, formations
Okay.
matter. Where they're positioned on there. They're like not just like that for like offensive, defensive, but like abilities. Like certain abilities won't be possible if you pair certain people or they're in certain proximity. And then it gets insane
That's
if you
sick.
really want to like break it down. And then,
Break
like
it
the
down.
recruitment,
Cool.
the open nature of like where you can go. There are certain parts you're going to be restricted from on the world map, but you really can just like wander into like a lot of like different like side areas that this isn't like integral to progressing through the main scenario, but there's a lot to do there and like good challenging maps. And the other part of it just like is like the real time strategy part of it. Like yes, the combat plays out on its own, but you have to like manage your different teams on a map and like send them to do objectives or to stop invade. It's like it's an RTS with RPG elements, and
Sick.
it's SRPG at the end of the day, but a tactical RPG, whatever you want to call it, and it just looks really awesome too. Like
Yeah, the visuals are incredible.
It's amazing, and yeah, it's just you can play it in really short bursts because like there are single campaign missions, like they're like very short and like one and done. It's not like Fire Emblem where a single mission will maybe take like hours and hours. You can like there are some of those, but a lot of them aren't like that. A lot of them are way shorter and simpler to
Sick.
do. So yeah, I really found myself like getting lost in it and just like really liking spending time recruiting new players and the team formations, looking at their abilities, through the gear, optimizing that. And there's a lot of stuff I'm forgetting because I played it at the beginning of the year that I'm sure like I'm not giving shout outs to in terms of like the different systems that you have to tinker with. And yeah, this is the region of the map look really cool too. I felt like and I forget if there's like any like oh, there's an arena. There's a dual like
Love arenas.
yeah, the
yeah.
arena. Yeah, the arena was really cool too. Once I was like, I saw it, I'm like, it's not unlocked yet, and I was like, I'm totally getting there. And there's like all sorts of like hidden stuff on the maps too. Like there's a bunch of stuff. That,
This would have been one of my favorite
yeah.
games of the year. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's really good. Like I mean, I would put it in my personal top 10, but I understand, like, you know, not enough people have played it, and honestly, like, I played it so early in the year that, like, I'm forgetting a lot about it, sadly, but, like, it really, I wasn't reviewing it, and I just kept playing it and finished it, because it was just, like, had me, you know, it was so engrossing. I couldn't let it, you know, put it down.
Sick.
Warframe?
I mean, yeah, this Warframe's better than it's ever been. 99 is incredible. The writing is actually astonishingly good. The characters are very good. I'll probably talk about it during Best Character on Tuesday, the 28th, whatever. Just want to shout it out. Like, Warframe is really good. It's one of those games where it's like, right now will always be the best time to play Warframe, because it's just it has really, literally just been getting better and better and better and better. So, yeah, Warframe. Sick.
So throw it over there. Or it's just a nod for now.
I mean, I don't think it'll end up on the list, and like I would fight for UFO 50 over that, like
Got
for
it.
being on the list. So, I'll save us the time.
Also, Blood, we didn't talk about Space Marine 2
Yeah.
was one last big one. Just want to give it a shout out.
Too hard.
So yeah, some
Too
people
crazy.
some people are like, yo, this is goaty. I don't see that. I
Yeah,
finished
no.
the whole thing. I finished the campaign. I finished the co-op missions. I
Right.
fucked around in PvP even, which is surprisingly old school and fun. It's definitely a really nice package, and it is definitely a gift for anyone who loves double A, even though this game feels high budget. It reminds me of those old, like, 360 PS3 era double A games
Yeah.
with, like, a very specific vision, and it's
The
uncompromising
things that
in
Embracer
that.
was actually going to make.
Yes.
This is one that actually got made.
Yep. Yeah, so a really cool game. The secret level episode was also a really nice compliment to it. Yeah, shout out to just those missions, dude. They're crazy
Cool.
and really good co-op.
So we have 20 on this side.
20 noms done.
So I'm gonna go through these. So the top 5 locks were Dragon's Dogma 2, Indica, Rebirth, Balatro, Animal Well. Then the next 5 that we kind of agreed on were
That's a
Astrobot,
lot.
Metaphor, Infinite Wealth, and Indie, and Silent Hill 2.
I think these were just the order we kind of did them in.
Yeah, but it also, you know, so then the next 5 I think are the ones that are like most likely to like bump something off of that. So we got Mario Party, Prince of Persia.
Mario Party we can move out.
Yeah.
Just want to
Yeah.
give it some lip service.
Okay.
It ain't getting in there.
So Prince of Persia, Lorelei, UFO 50, Stellar Blade. Gonna fight in that group.
I wouldn't put it in there, but
It's tough. I don't know. Like, Stellar Blade is my biggest question. Of like,
Okay.
am I
And then I think we can.
too close to it? Like, I love that game, but also I truly think it is one of the best action games of the year for sure. It's a tough one. It's not a hill I will die on,
Yeah.
but
We'll see.
really think it's fucking good.
So, and then the last group, so the stuff that I think we could probably safely move off are Dragon Age, Wukong, I Am Your Beast, Nine Souls, and Fear the Spotlight.
Great,
Yeah.
great,
So we'll move those off.
great.
like Fear the Spotlight, hugely meaningful
Yeah,
and very, very good,
so well done.
especially for such a small team. But yeah,
So well done.
Oh, I thought you guys were gonna fight for that one.
I don't know if it's goaty.
I would fight for it. I
Okay,
just
okay.
don't. I don't think it'll end up on the top 10. So I'm just gonna save
I
us
see.
the
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
Lorelei, I think, is genius, but having not beaten it all the way,
Yeah, I feel this kind of same way. You're right.
Like-
We should probably.
like if as soon as I finish it, I'll probably go back in time and be like, "You idiot!
Right?
Like, that's the greatest game ever made." But
Shout out to Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, just, incredible video game.
So, we would need to move Astrobot, Metaphor, Infinite Wealth, Indie, or Silent Hill out for Prince of Persia, UFO 50, or Stellar Blade.
And are the top 5 locked no matter what?
I mean, I kind of think
Yeah, what
so.
are they? One more
Like,
time? One more time.
So-
The top 5?
Dragon's Dogma 2,
Yeah, I'm not moving that.
Indica, Rebirth, Balatro, or Animal Well. The only one that I would personally even consider moving out is Indica, but I know you feel very strongly about it. So it's like,
And I would consider moving Animal Well.
I would get rid of Rebirth or Animal Well.
Gabby's been playing a shitload of Animal Well. Where do you fall on that?
I am only able to play it because I have chat helping me. Like, if I didn't have chat helping me, I would have.
Also, I think playing
Yeah,
it
this
once
game
a
is a
week
nightmare.
playing it once a week is like very challenging because like most of that
playing
game
it-
is remembering it.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's true. And like, they tell me where to go and stuff when I forget where I'm supposed to go. But and it's super fun. I
To me, Animal Well
I don't think
is-
I've played enough of it to say, oh, this is game of the year. So, yeah.
It's
But
one of those
I've
that I
also
really
heard-
loved and then didn't really think about it after I put it down. Like,
It's like, I
You're not the
love
first person I've heard say that.
games
to.
like
Yeah.
Fez and stuff that are kind of mind-boggling or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it
again, I
really-
haven't really gotten to those mind-boggling things, so it's really not. I don't feel right.
I mean, I definitely think
Lord.
Lorelei is like a stronger game when it comes to like puzzles easily. Like certainly, it's not the only thing Animal Well is up to.
yeah, I mean, I think Animal Well to me is just like a really, like it's such, like the whole like layering concept is very fascinating to me. It's such a great thing of design because it kind of systematically pulls you through those different layers by like intertwining everything so well, because it's like on the one hand you have this really great Metroidvania game, very moody, really great sound effects, really great
Yeah.
art design and everything there. Some of the animals are just like Gabby's last stream, like just really freak you out.
There's some
It's
scary
just
parts.
being chased, which I hate.
Yeah.
And
But,
I
but there's a lot
haven't-
of stuff like that where it's like, what is this little guy? What's he gonna do, right? Like,
Right, like you enter a room with an animal and it just like stomps you to death or whatever. Yeah.
And then, so you have that Metroidvania aspect of like, okay, figuring out like, okay, what do I actually need to do to sort of complete this? But then, then you start coming across like the eggs, right? And you start coming across the bunnies, and you're like, what was that? And there's so many different little things throughout the game that you look at for a second and you're like, huh, I don't know, I guess that's nothing. And then later on it's like, oh, this actually matters. But it's the way that it kind of threads you through that stuff so well that I like just the fact that the Metroidvania map, like your inclination as a player is to fill out the map. And in the process of trying to fill out the map, there's stuff like, wait a minute, and you start pulling on these threads. And there's like even a part now of the map that I don't think anyone has found. Like, nobody has figured out how to get to this one spot on the map, and it's just crazy. But in the process of trying to figure out how to get to that part of the map, then we start communicating, and then there's like, wait, you can do what? It's like, wait, I saw that weird thing over there, and you saw some other weird, and these things go together, and like stuff that you dismiss now all of a sudden becomes important and leads you down these little threads. And things that are just like fully outside of the box in creative thinking, like the fact that like on Steam you can take that in windowed mode and you can grab the window and shake it back and forth and the vines will shake. Or similarly, you can like rub your mouse over the vines. It's like, oh, okay, the vines move. They just like, oh, that's neat. But it's like, actually, there are parts of the game where there's a puzzle, right?
Like Kojima shit.
To that, yeah. And similarly, like Gabby, like one of the rewards you got for the map was a pencil, and you're like, why do I have a pencil? Why can I draw on the map? There is a very good reason and a very specific thing to solve by having the pencil on to draw on the map. Like, but it's about putting these ideas together, and so the hard thing for me is the experience I had is almost like it's hard to replicate. And even when they were giving out awards codes, that like created another Discord server for people because, like when when they talk about Among Us as a social deduction game, that's about like figuring out like what everybody's doing, or it's like this is a social deduction game, or it's like everybody's working together, and it's like you figure one little thing out, and then somebody else figures something out, or like somebody will give you an answer to something, but you're like, wait, how did that work? And then you reverse engineer something. And so for me, it's like I had beaten the game and I had gotten a certain amount of the way through the collectibles, and then I was like, okay, let me pop into the reviewers Discord, and then like all of these other things and all of these other possibilities started opening up, and there's just so many things that like really play with your head and go outside of the box. And the fact that the game is also like extremely tiny file size is very impressive to me. I'm trying to think if there's anything in that I would want to spoil just for an example, but I don't know.
I think we can just leave it.
Yeah, just leave it.
Yeah.
Just leave
It's
it.
good.
My
It's a good
my
sign.
thing is like, can we get UFO 50 in there? Because like for me, it's
we get
Animal
Astrobot
Well.
in there?
It's Animal Well.
Astrobot
50
is-
times.
is-
Astrobot is in there.
It's basically
Oh,
in there.
right.
It's like Astrobot would have to get bumped to get one of these others in
Okay.
there.
Dude,
yeah.
there's no chance in hell we're bumping Astrobot.
Okay, but
Right.
what can we buy?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing. It's
Okay.
like
Because like Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Indiana Jones, Silent Hill 2, like cool, whatever. But like UFO 50 is 50 Animal Wells. Like obviously not to that extent, but like it's 50 games and all of them are like none of them are like bad.
Yeah.
right.
Even Barbuda, which like at first is like, what the fuck is this? Like that's part of the gimmick. And
Yeah.
like there are 20 games in there, 10 to 15 that I actually love. Like Party House, I've played like so much of, and Pilot Quest is super good.
It's such a fucking sick game.
Yeah, I think it's
like Night Manor is crazy. Like there's so much in there, and there's spoiler alert. There's a 51st. There's a meta game just like Animal Well. There's an overarching meta game on the whole thing. Like there's a
Right.
51st game. Like there's all this other shit in there, like that links all of the games together. There's a meta narrative about the studio, and like the games progress through time, and like you see like mascots start to form and like enemies being reused, and like the vent grate from Night Manor is in Min and Max. It's just like there are so many excellent experiences in UFO 50 that are all so good, and like the whole package is just fantastic. So to me, I don't know, I think it's an important game, and I think it's a really cool game.
I think for me
It's more interesting to me
and I
than
would
everything else on the list besides
with the
Indica, but-
caveat that I didn't play it nearly as much as you did, is I really appreciated the overarching meta side of it, but I didn't feel hooked on any particular game like you were
Hooked on
saying.
phonics.
But because there's so many games, I could have just not picked the right games.
I think it has there's definitely like an overwhelming.
Yeah.
They're in order, man.
I
Chronological order.
I played them in chronological order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I say to everyone, play Pilot Quest first because there's an idle game element that it runs while you're playing other stuff. So you're just doing yourself a favor if you
If
play
you go
Pilot
out of
Quest
chronological
first.
order, you're actually an insane person.
No, if you play Pilot Quest first, that is the most logical thing to do, and it's like
But
the,
you
it's
know
like the
that
40-second
after the
game.
fact.
That's why I'm telling people to do it. I'm giving you a pro tip.
That is
Play
a pro
Pilot
tip.
Quest first. But yeah,
Okay. The
chronological, it's fun, but
the thing I'm feeling here, and if
I would do
if-
Indica or
Hang on.
Indiana Jones.
let me finish.
I second Indiana Jones.
Huber, I would
Love Indica.
I
too.
would think.
I just don't know if it
I fucking love it.
does enough.
Yeah, I'm not as strong on Indica, but
I love
what
it.
let me finish. What I'm thinking, last year we did 12. So I could see putting Prince of Persia and UFO 50 on there and then
Yeah.
dropping Stellar
We
Blade.
can drop Stellar.
I think that's the way
can
to
drop
go.
it.
We have 12.
I love that game so much, and it is just an incredible action game. Like,
But I
Like,
would
think
still,
about-
I would still
I think
put
about-
all of these above that.
I think about how revered something is, like Devil May Cry, and I 100% in my heart, someone who fucking played Devil May Cry day one, PS2, and all of them. In my mind, Stellar Blade is as good as something like Devil May Cry. Truly.
Are we worrying about an order, or is it just alphabetical and then there's
Well,
ability?
yeah, it will be alphabetical. Time for the formal reading of the top 12 nominees.
In alphabetical order.
Animal Well, Astrobot, Balatro, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Indica, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Refantasio, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, and UFO 50.
I love it.
Stay up for 50.
I actually love it. I love
I'm
the
so
list.
happy with that list.
I really like the list. A lot.
Strong list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we gotta figure out
What's
what
the
our
winner?
number one.
Shout out to the ones lost along the way,
I mean,
like Stellar Blade.
yeah. Fear the spotlight.
Yeah,
Salute
fear the
behind.
smooth. The ones who-
Fear the spotlight.
Yeah.
Everyone out.
Yeah.
All right. Elephant in the room. We all played a shit ton of Balatro,
Balatro.
except maybe Damiani. I don't know if you played Balatro much.
Easy Allies has a history of card games.
Card game wins. Yeah, we gave it to
was-
Hearthstone.
That was literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or more.
That was pre-Easy
Maybe
Allies.
11.
That was pre-Z Allies.
So Balatro, to me, is truly, and I'm sure 600 Hour Gabby will have a lot to say as we go on, but I truly
534.
I truly believe that there are so few perfect things in this world, and Balatro just might be one of them.
There
Like,
are shortage
akin
of
to-
perfect games in this world. It would be
Yeah.
a pity to damage yours.
like it feels like Tetris levels of brilliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is truly insane because
All
of
killer, no
how
filler.
complex it is. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a game with so many different types of decks, so many different jokers and badges. Like part of why I love video games is strategy.
Yeah.
And the strategy on display in Balatro is truly next level because it can change on a dime from run to run, and you can go on 100 different runs. And while you can kind of put yourself, you can kind of like go for certain things. Like I know flushes are very popular.
Right.
It still changes dramatically depending on the cards you're getting, depending on the what is in the shop, depending on the bosses you face. So there really is just an unlimited level of strategy in this game, which
And I think it-
is so important.
It does a good job of, because I know some people, like friends of mine in my life, have been like, "Oh, I haven't played it. I don't know anything about poker," and it's
Me.
like, yeah, you like
Right.
Never
even
played
having
poker,
like
don't understand it.
even having no level of knowledge of poker hands or a cursory level of knowledge of poker hands, like it onboards you well enough that I think like
Yeah.
it moves beyond that very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
when we streamed it with Jason and I
Yeah.
was made to play and I had never played before, I was like so frustrated and uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't understand poker. I don't know what I'm doing. People are saying words that I've heard, but I don't know what they mean, like full house, flush, etc. And then now I have 530 hours in the game, so it's not poker, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's you know,
It's Balatro.
poker.
It's
Poker
poker
is
light.
the language that it's speaking,
Yeah.
but it's not poker. And you know, you were speaking to the complexity of it, but I also want to speak to the simplicity of it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Easy to
And-
pick up, hard to master.
Yes. It's the new chess. It's the new
It
go.
really is.
It's go.
It's a fucking
chess.
perfect game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it has the best song of the year by far. The main song that plays is absolutely the best song of the year.
It could do without that held note. I'll say
I
that.
love it. I love the hold note.
Because I was playing it on like a plane or
I
somewhere where
love
there was
it.
a lot of background noise, and just that one high note, it was like all I could hear
I
for a
love
while, and I was like, okay, music off.
Like
Wow.
when you have a ton of jokers and you hit all those jokers,
Bing,
and it sounds like you just won a slot machine.
The
Oh,
sound
yeah.
design is incredible.
The sound design is amazing.
The glass
And
breaking,
they're just like
just
shaking
so
and
much.
shit's exploding. It's so good.
I want to give a special shout out to the sacrificial dagger Joker. It is
Oh my gosh.
so fun. Destroying
one is
Joker.
that?
It
Oh,
destroys
yeah,
the
yeah. Destroys the
Joker
one to
next
the
to
right,
it and then
yeah.
pumps it up. Also, the hitchhiker Joker that
Yes.
levels up every single card you play, so you're just like leveling. Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
You can like, trigger that with like the one that re-triggers your Jokers, so it's like doing it 2 times.
Yeah. Oh, the blueprint. Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Or
The-
the blueprint, or the one that does like the one all the way to the left. Or when you
Yeah.
have both of those and they re-trigger each other.
Yeah, the stream you're talking about with Jason is like there's times when I want to rewatch it because it feels like a fever dream because it's like because I've been playing this a ton since December since I got on the plane to go home for Christmas and that's funny because like when I looked at my Steam
Yeah.
Huber like whatever month that was that came out right like April or May or whatever
Yeah.
like I had played a ton of Balatro. But I did the Pac-Man 99 thing, where it's like once I like beat
Beat a deck.
Then
You're
I was
like,
like,
okay,
okay,
put
I'm
it
out.
down for a bit.
I'm out.
Yeah.
But then when I got it on my phone, it's like now I've gone through most of the decks. Now I'm up to purple stakes.
Yeah.
And so like that time with Jason, it's just like I tried to learn from it, but it still feels like he just walked in the door and did the impossible, and none of us can
Yeah,
replicate
exactly.
it.
I still never
He sees the
scored
Matrix.
as
And
high as
I've-
I did when
He sees the
came up
Matrix.
with
And
Yeah.
I've seen other game
I-
developers posting like gifts like similarly. Like
Well,
I don't even know what to say how
Yeah.
these numbers work out loud. I
Yeah.
don't
There's
know.
a,
Yeah.
there's a video that I just sent to Jason the other day of someone getting like
50
52,
quadrillion.
52 billion to the power of like whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And the description of the video is so funny because they win the hand and they get $18. And it says, a gambler walks into a casino with 5 colorful glass kings, 3 metal kings, a medieval French jester, and several strange schematics. They win more chips than there are atoms in the Milky Way. The casino pays them $18 and politely suggests that they never visit again. And I was like, that's Balatro.
Yeah.
Have you seen the 261 of clubs? Someone
No,
like
because they just
modded
ranked it up.
Yeah, someone modded the game so it ranks up the number when you add to
Oh,
the
that's-
card.
Oh, yeah.
So someone
That's
said,
funny.
"What in the hell is that freak next to the ace?" And it's the 261 of clubs. And it's just like clubs
261
piled on
clubs.
top of each other. It's just a black mass in the middle of the card.
But yeah, as to kind of what Huber was saying is like that whole sense of like trying to read like what your run is doing and play into
Adapting.
that and adapting. And yeah, same thing with like like you get certain jokers and like the other day I got the one where like you have to like not play face cards to get the mult to go up.
Yeah.
And it was like so many times where I just essentially just avoided that.
Yeah.
But then like this time like, well, let me try to play
Yeah.
like that because I'm just
I
so
always
addicted
saw
to
that
face
one.
cards.
Yeah.
I'm so addicted to
Yeah.
face cards. I'm like, okay, let me try this out. And
Yeah.
or like times when I've just like cleared a whole deck by like high card or something stupid like that.
Love
I'm just
high
playing
card.
one card and I like beat everything because
Yeah.
it's so maxed out.
And the other thing is the challenge modes are
Yep.
really, some of them are like they're purposely
Brutal.
just so obtuse and nearly impossible. But like when you play them, you learn like new things about the game and new strategies. It's just so good.
Truly brilliant.
Okay, but to keep us on task, does anyone have something that they want to win other than Balatro?
Well, I think it's just so interesting comparing
Yeah.
Balatro. You will
It's
get
very different.
You
from-
yeah, exactly. So like the ignorance of like, oh, it's just a card game. Like I really want to stress the foundation of it, and that is strategy.
Yeah.
Thinking about so many of the games on this list, like, you think of like Final Fantasy Rebirth, right? some of those battles, you're thinking about your strategies. What is metaphor? Metaphor is turn-based battles where you're really thinking about like weaknesses and, you know, do I use an item here? Do I use a heal? Do I attack? So I think Balatro still is fundamentally like rooted in one of our favorite parts of why we even play video games, and that is to think strategically and overcome obstacles and be challenged in a very fun way.
Yeah.
There's also the other
and-
side of it too about collecting all the jokers and filling out.
Yeah.
Like we love collecting
Yeah,
things and
yeah,
completing
getting all
things in games and like filling out that whole big journal of like
There are definitely
200
times when I
jokers.
will like, I think this sucks, but I'll buy it just because it's not in my collection.
Exactly.
yet.
Oh, it's a new card. I gotta get it. I want to fill out my collection.
Oh yeah, I've
Exactly.
definitely done that where I'm like, well, this
Yeah.
will destroy my run, but I've
Yeah.
never bought this card before.
Totally.
So,
So
Damiani,
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? You haven't played it really, but do you have something else that you would put forward?
I mean, the only two I would put forward is Rebirth and Astrobot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Astrobot.
Like, I don't. Astrobot, I mean, is pretty close to perfection for a
Yep,
platformer. And
Yep.
the one thing that's being held over it, I see as a negative, is like I mean, it's completely subjective in terms of like, do you like, is it pandering too much to Sony history and then like relying too much on
That-
fan service? Is that like
That's a
detriment?
strong
I think it's a
man.
bad take.
It's a bad argument.
Yeah, I think it's a
like,
bad
it-
take.
Yeah, I think that's bad
it, like
take.
it enhances it for certain people, but it doesn't take away from the gameplay mechanics and the level
And it's also
designs
like, it's a
that
first-party game. Like,
Yeah.
what?
you could
If it weren't a
rep-
first-party game, it would have everything. Like, if they could get it, like, whatever.
replace the God of War level with generic terms and stuff like that, and a generic looking axe or whatever, and it's still like a really good level,
Still
or
good,
like the
yeah.
Uncharted
Yeah.
level, or
Yeah,
I mean,
fully.
I get it. Some of these are a little inseparable, like the Loco Roco level. It's like, okay, what else is like Loco Roco? It's like it's literally doing that, but like at the same time, it's within its own, unique systems, like making all these really cool specialized levels that pay tribute, but also mechanically feel very good and familiar, like that, and like in a short burst. So it's not like giving you the whole game, and that's like this extra. That's like on top, like on everything else. Like
Yeah.
at fundamental level, it does so many great things in the platform games, from like the power ups to the level designs to the challenges to the collectibles.
Love the
to
sponge one.
replayability. Yeah, like to the
the cutest
individual
one.
challenge
The
stuff.
shrinking.
It's basically, I mean, they
Yeah, no,
all
that's
but
good.
said it in their acceptance speech because they weren't allowed to say the words Nintendo, but they could say Mario. It's like they just studied what some
Yeah.
of the best were doing and took it a bit further and, did a little bit like more, I think, on it. And so it doesn't literally feel, it doesn't, completely feel like it's owes everything to like a Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey or OG Mario. You could see the DNA in there, but you see them
Stands on the shoulders
evolving.
of giants.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really crazy to be sitting here in 2024 GOTY and being like, what's better, Tetris or Super Mario?
Yeah.
Like, they're
Fully, though. Yeah,
both
fully.
like these are two near perfect games. It's really
I-
crazy.
I struggle to remember. Like, there is no game in recent memory that feels better in a controller than Astrobot.
Yeah,
Like, it's like the perfect game
Feels so
feel
good.
for a platformer.
yeah.
So good, which is tough to do in a
love the
3D
little
platformer.
jetpack thing.
Oh my
is
god!
so
and the
satisfying.
little marks on the
Yeah.
ground that it leaves. It's like, oh
It's so satisfying.
yeah.
Yeah, they had that like secret sauce that usually is attributed to Nintendo or to Shigeru Miyamoto for like those moment-to-moment extra touches that a lot of games just don't have the development resources or just the know-how to like put those in there. This game, Astrobot
Yeah.
also does that as well. It does not it does not cut corners even in that regard. In fact, it fully embraces it. And yeah, like the full usage of like the DualSense. I mean, we saw
Yeah.
it in
Yeah.
Playroom
So nice.
already, and we saw it. We've seen it before, but like it's put to very good use here too, and it feels really good as well. And
Also,
honestly,
the powers you get with those Damiani, how they change how the controller feels. Like the big ball one, where you turn into like
yeah.
the ball. you like feel that. It's like so
Yeah.
cool.
It's crazy how they made it, like, everything feels so different on that controller.
Also, the free Christmas level that they added
Right.
is the
All
best
that
in
new
the
stuff.
whole game. Truly, it's
Yeah.
like friggin' Bowser's Fury, dude. They're like, here's just like
Oh, I didn't play that. That's
Dude.
Yeah, I haven't played any of the
I gotta
DLC
try
yet.
that.
that level
definitely blind
is
spot.
a masterpiece. It is insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it is insane.
Cool.
Yeah, and they have a really good version of their like Champions Road as well. Which is
Yeah.
really good.
Oh
and
my
also we're
God,
talking
yeah.
about like credits, like we already mentioned, like
so
what we're doing-
fucking hard.
Oh, this will be out after the podcast, but like the credits, you know how interactive they are, and also like the music that plays during it. It's just like
Oh,
just
God tier
totally
music.
embracing
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that notion of like get people to pay attention to your credits,
Oh.
pay attention to people who made this game, and you know poured
Yeah.
their heart and soul into it. So like it felt just like so good to play. And honestly, I generally feel like really good about most well-made platformers. And like Odyssey made me feel like that a few years ago too. So
Oh, yeah.
but it's nice to see someone other than Nintendo make a
Yeah.
3D platformer
Yeah.
that even like we've seen stellar 2D platformers that rival the best of Nintendo from from indie developers all over the world are like already caught up on that, and sometimes surpassing what anything Nintendo has even done. Like I mean, yes, Wonder did a lot of really cool things that were new, but I mean, I still think like Super Meat Boy is still like one of the best like side-scrolling platformers ever made. And
VVVVVV, dude. Like,
yeah, that's
out of
like,
control.
there's so many good ones. So, but 3D seemed to be like, God, that's a little too much for everyone. Like, it's so hard. And we saw all these efforts in the last few years, like, you know, with the team behind like Banjo-Kazooie trying to like
Yeah.
make with the ukulele, and like they're
Ukulele.
getting another crack at it, thankfully, with a little bit more resources. But like the OG one, like it, you know, it depends on your viewpoint. For me, it's a little bit of a misfire because it shows how ambitious 3D platformers are and what it really takes to make a good one. But also like the modernizing it was a little too rooted in like retro design, and 3D
Yeah.
platformers from that era were like new and innovative and unique, but like it doesn't always translate to like really great, you know, modern entry, and people have just been struggling left and right to like do that. And that's why you see so many people going back to remaking or remastering the classics. Like that's just like the easiest way to go. So someone doing something so new like this and building upon what they had already done with their previous entries, it just felt like a really good culmination. I still think they have plenty of fuel in the tank. I really think
yeah.
that without even needing to rely on the first party strength of PlayStation's recognizable IPs, they can absolutely make a amazing follow-up to this. Like I think it's absolutely within them to make another one of these that they want, but also I think they're talented enough to make something that's not quite just like a platformer as well. Like they definitely, it definitely was like it was amazing. So that's for Astrobot. Like I think it was. This comes down to paraphrase it. This comes down to the 2017 argument for me about Odyssey versus Breath of the Wild, where Odyssey was definitely the better made game of the two, like better polish, well put together, because it was like a culmination of things, where Breath of the Wild was trying to do new things and trying to take a new step. And I'm bringing up that in comparison to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which was my other one I put forward for I want consideration for actual game of the year, is because this one was trying to do what so many people were claiming is just not feasible anymore with RPGs, is that you can't make a PS1, PS2 era Square Enix like JRPG with modern visuals and all those mini games and all that stuff. Like it just costs too much, it'll take too long, it's just not possible to do. It's like it's no one's doing it. That was their own excuse for years why like none of the games are like, you know, not feeling like the grand nature of those PS1, PS2 days of those JRPGs. And more so than even Remake was amazing for the fact that we were getting to go back to Final Fantasy VII World again. It's like new visuals, oh my god, we're seeing it again. Like that was like the glitz and glamour for that. This was, all right, there's a little bit more substance here. It had a fantastic battle system. They improved upon it even more. It might arguably be the best, one of the best
Dude,
RPG
it's so
battle systems ever
sick.
made, because it is walking that like really difficult tightrope of real-time action and turn-based, and like fusing the two together to give you something that
So
feels like
sick.
a little bit of both, but isn't fully going one or the other direction. In like the era where like two sides are so divided, I want real-time. No, turn-based is the way. That's why like Final Fantasy's not doing well, whatever. Like this is like we have our own way, and like this is a third option for you. And the strategy level for it gets insane. Like yes, it could use some quality of life finessing still, even after Rebirth tried to do a little bit more, like with materia management and materia loadouts, because that strategy is really put to the test in some of the harder difficulty settings, like the hard mode of this game.
Dude,
like
yeah.
you really need to know how to you really know how to play this game and use its battle system. And two, those challenges that get ridiculous, it's really there. Like that is like the greatest argument for like you don't know what you're talking about if you say this game has like no strategy. It's like that is too much strategy. That is like holy shit,
dude.
what are you like? This is insane. I don't even want to like do this anymore.
Which I think is so
tap
essential
out,
for
I
any
quit.
RPG, Damiani. There's gotta be like the
late game shit's gotta be crazy sweaty, dude. Yeah.
So let me like me wanting to level up and like get better gear and all that to bring into like the harder stuff is just so rewarding and so fun.
Yeah, and
Wait, go ahead, Damiani. Go ahead.
But like the most difficult stuff is also optional. You do not need to play this game
Yeah,
on
right,
hard.
yeah.
You do not have to do that to do it. You can play on normal, and it's still a very satisfying combat system. A lot of the critique of 16 was that its first difficulty setting was way too easy. That's not the case with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's not like it's not hard, but like you're gonna lose them like a lot of bosses at least once.
Yeah, it pushes
like,
back in a really nice way.
the freaking 10 versions of like stages of the final fight that like is epic as shit. I died like multiple times on different phases. I was like, and you go back to the start. I was like, what the fuck is this?
that.
Yeah, that was an
Sorry.
annoying checkpoint. They could have had a
although-
checkpoint in there.
Well,
and you can't skip like damn cutscenes.
Yeah.
One of them was an issue with how they worded they give you multiple options for where you want to restart. They could word that a little bit better. That's one little knock against it, because I picked the one that sent me back to the beginning, not to a more recent checkpoint of that fight.
Same.
But the fact was, I was like, it was intense. I felt like you love this, Hubert. You love like when you are fighting by you're just like in a fight for survival, because your resources, they don't reset after each phase. It's like you're like, oh my god, if I die I gotta go back to the beginning. It's like, what do I have to use? Like
Damiani, by far Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has some of the most epic shit of all time, dude. Just like, there were some times when I was just laughing because of how like epic it was. I'm just like, what am I even watching here, dude? This is out of control.
This is legitimately a game where I think one of the most valid critiques is they might have put too much into this game.
Oh, they
And,
absolutely.
there's some blood.
I was like, I really think they were trying to
I
prove
stopped
a
playing
point.
because there was too much shit in this game.
There's a
I
lot
think they were
of
trying
shit.
to prove a point. I think they were really like,
Yeah.
we need to
They
show
spent all
that
this
this
time
is
wondering if they
possible.
could. They didn't think that they should.
You haven't said the most. You haven't brought up the most important thing though, Damiani, in this
so
entire
here-
discussion.
I
Two words.
I got you. So we talked earlier about UFO 50 having 50 games. This almost has like 50 mini games in there on top of them, starting with Queen's
Blood, baby.
Queen's Blood. I love Queen's
Can
Blood.
we
dude.
actually
That is
nominate
so
Queen's Blood?
good.
Like is
Queen's
that
Blood, put it 13,
Yeah.
Queen's Blood.
And just like The Witcher 3, my man, the amount of side quests for Queen's Blood is incredible. Like Queen's Blood on a fucking cruise ship. Are you kidding me? It's Maverick, dude.
Hell yeah. Maverick.
Yes.
The Maverick chapter 5, dude.
Such a good point, because a lot of while a lot of these are optional extra activities, and some are tied to the bevy of overworld activities that they have to do to try and make it feel like, you know, a more open world style game with like the checklist of things. A lot of these are tied to just normal progression, as you said. Like Queen's Blood has a part in that chapter where you have to engage with it in order to advance through the story. Like the dolphin mini game, the wave race part. It's like, oh, this is part of advancing, but you can come back to these, and there's like extra layers and extra like ranks and stuff you could work up to if you really
Playing
want to,
Vincent
like, dive
Valentine for a game in a game of Queen's Blood, dude, is like so insane.
and like not all of them are like winners, but like so many of them are like insane that they did them. Like the Junon parade, like making that
That was
into
fun.
yeah,
that was
and it
cool.
like
I
and it
forgot
can
about
impact
that.
you get a small little variation on the
Yeah.
cutscene that plays at the end, depending on your performance, which is
I will
nice.
say I was a little let down by Fort Condor in this one as opposed to Intergrade.
Oh, it's
because
kind
I
of like
loved Fort Condor back then, but this one is more of like almost like Balatro challenges, where it like kind of gives you like a pre-made group of figures, characters,
Fort
whatever.
Condor the one where you like get sucked into the little.
Yeah,
Polygon.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hated
you
yeah.
get the awesome
Exactly.
like,
Yeah,
retro
they kind of
3D
ruined
visual.
it. They
I
kind of ruined
actively
it.
hated it.
In
But
Intergrade,
it's a
you could
tower
go and you could
defense,
earn.
basically, yeah.
In Intergrade, you would go and you would earn other characters for your army, and then there was a strategy of like who I want to bring in. So there was just like way more freedom, and it was just like way better. Whereas this one felt like you needed to do it a certain way to win, and that was the only
Yeah.
way. Which
You
is not
definitely-
usually
yes.
a fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
There
don't
was
like
a
that.
lot
Also
of
felt-
trial and error with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found the trial and error not fun with that. Like
Yeah.
I found the instructions often unclear, or like the goal unclear.
I will say that the one that was a little bit more intense than that was the Gears and Gambits one. That one with the robot stuff, that one went like even a step further than Fort Condor. At least for me, Fort Condor, it's like, oh, I needed like my build order was wrong. This one was
Yeah.
all sorts of like crazy. Thankfully, for some reason, I got really lucky on hard mode and didn't like I got most of them on the first or second try. I was like, but yes, as I said, there were some of them aren't as great as the other ones, like the Cactar Crush one where you have to like use Aerith, and one of them was the most frustrating thing
Red-
in the damn world.
Red
Watching YouTube
13,
guys.
Rocket
Weird
League.
slash.
Oh,
Oh
that
yeah,
was a little
I could be
squishy.
Yuffie just like
Yeah.
ninja shit left and right
Splashy
so
and-
easily, but then Aerith, it's like, oh
Aerith
my
is so
god,
slow.
this is so
Yeah.
making me. But the thing was, learning it was a little bit bullshit, but also recognizing the abilities that she has, like which is the best to use at like a certain moment. But some of it was like a little annoying. But also, again, so many good ones, like what was the one, like the Cosmo Canyon one, where you're like with the chocobo gliding, like say the
Dude,
different
that one
chocobos.
freaked me
But
out.
I liked how some of these tied into like the traversal of the environments, because you'd find a spot, oh, here's like an engagement point with like this region's like they all had like the Gilgamesh quest line, which each region
Yeah,
had
yeah.
its own special
The
version
proto
of that
relic
as well.
or whatever.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
proto
yeah,
relic.
yeah.
Thank
Essential,
you. Yeah.
essential.
There,
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that like even if it wasn't part of the main story, unlike most of the side quests in Final Fantasy 16. These side quests either felt like they had good activities for them because they were tied to so many mini games, or they had like really good rewards and like the narrative was like pretty like it was the worthwhile narrative. Not
Yeah.
a lot of fetch quest crap in this. And
I agree.
again, like dude, so like the minecart part with the shooting with
Yeah,
Barrett,
dude.
the riding
Truly.
around in the
Jeez.
in Costa del Sol on the
The segue.
thank you, segues. The Resident Evil 4 mini game in the pirate thing, like it's the shooting gallery.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
shooting
Yeah.
gallery.
And that's like but you have to do that once. Like I liked how
Getting all the medals for the house or the like resort house thing.
that got insane. That one was
Yeah.
a little bit
That is like
much
a-
for me.
That's for the completionist,
okay.
though.
That's for
Respect.
completionists. But
Yeah.
the point, like the reason I bring all these up is because they give you a sampler. It's like the Chili's like sampler or whatever they do, where they give you all the like different appetizers. Like the story does that for you. Like you get a little sample of each mini game. You're not like it doesn't shove it down your throat. But if you like one of them, it's like go to this spot. There's way more here for you to invest
Yeah.
in. Like the whole freaking Loveless play. You can go back and keep redoing
Yeah,
it to
dude.
get like the different versions of it and like do it in
Yeah.
different orders. It's like even something like that has and then like the dates they handled when you beat the game, they handled the way to see other outcomes thing way better
Yeah,
than they
yeah,
did in
yeah.
remake. Like the whole dress things with that thing was insane in remake. This one, they're like, nah, you just pick some options and you can just go see all the different date scenes play out or anything like that. So like they really streamlined that as well. As again, I think they did a great job with like the overworld, giving you a sense of like it all connects together and in the early goings, and then they just like they pull back the curtain and they're like, actually, it is all connected. It's not zones. Like when you get the tiny Bronco and can sail around, it's like this is an overworld. They're all there. You can just land here and go to these spots. I'm like, it's not the
Such good
entire Final
towns.
Fantasy VII world, but like they're flexing at that point. They're like, get ready. When we get the airship in part 3, you're gonna like lose your shit. But like, here's a taste of that. And like that moment for me, like when they give you the tiny Bronco and you're just going down this path, like, isn't this the part from the previous chapter? This must be a trick or something. And then like, wait, this is. I can just go I was like, oh my god! Now I understand so many. Like now I understand some of the technical hiccups of this game. Each zone is not isolated; they are connected. I was like, oh my god! This narratively, they were making it seem like they weren't connected. I was like, oh my gosh! And then characters. I understand this game's story is very
Dude,
polarizing.
Cloud in this game is the fucking GOAT.
It's very polarizing, this story about what they're doing with it, and we're not getting into spoiler territory with this because we don't have time. But the characters,
There's a whole video about it. Go watch
Yeah,
that.
don't spoil me. I still am only
Yeah.
only halfway through.
Character bonds, like character development, character bonds, building up your relationship. It's again like you get credit Persona, whoever you want to give credit to, who did it first about building up relationships and like that paying off. This game just embraces it. There's no, I don't see any shame in it. It enhances this game because you want to like every of your party member. You want to see those smiley faces get more smiley on them. You don't want them to be frowned.
The smiley faces.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
absolutely. And when you pick an answer and it like doesn't enhance it, you're like,
You're
"Shit,
just like,
shit."
oh, I shouldn't have said that. I said the wrong thing.
But
I was being
interactions.
insensitive. No.
I love so much about this game. I just could, as you said, Huber, there's so many epic moments. I just couldn't believe what they were doing. And again, and then the soundtrack just being like one of the best ever. And again, to make it more succinct, I compare it to like Breath of the Wild because it was doing so many amazing new things that we just hadn't seen before. It was rough in some spots. It was not perfect. It had technical issues. It had a few shortcomings here and there, but that ambitious nature, I like just
So
wanted
ambitious.
to reward Breath of the Wild over like an Odyssey because I was like, this is ambitious. This is doing so many crazy things. And again, this is in the context of Astrobot and Rebirth. Like I would give my personal nod to Rebirth over Astrobot because of what this game was trying to do. And that's pretty much all I have to say, but I am also comfortable and happy with either of these winning or Balatro because you guys have made very compelling arguments about how awesome Balatro is. And like everyone in the world can't be wrong about Balatro because like everyone in the world just keeps saying how awesome it is. So you can't doubt the world, right? Everyone in the world can't be wrong, right?
It's just so beautiful, like how different those three games are. They couldn't be like so different. But they all have like similar elements, like we were talking about, like strategy
Video
and
games.
stuff. Yeah.
Juggernauts
Video
of
games- I
very,
think video
very
games are
different
good.
varieties.
Exactly. I was so happy to be in a year that I got to play Astrobot and Rebirth in the same year for me was just like like amazing to have like those two like high points. And the other like all these other games were like great. I mean, I'm not gonna get into any of them, but like even like Metaphor, I was not expecting that to like be so impressive and get me to like play it till the end, but that's just like what kind of year it was. I was not expecting 2024 to be like a banger year. But
Year
it
of the
like, kind
RPG.
of like absolutely had for me a lot of bangers. Like, damn, there were a lot of games this year that just like consumed me, and that was awesome to have.
I will say my only, because it seems like we're kind of leaning towards these three.
Yeah.
But I will say-
I got to talk it all, but yeah.
You're about to. I just want to say one quick thing. My only criticism about Rebirth was that by the time I got to like the third zone, because I am a completionist and
The
I'm
Chadley
doing the.
bloat is insane.
But when I got to the third zone and I was like, all right, do like 30 more tasks to fill out the meter, I was like,
Yeah.
I like sighed. I was like, oh,
That part, that's like the only part of the game that I think is like actively bad.
a little bit of bloat.
Yeah.
A little bit of bloat.
This is Final Fantasy VII Research. This should be called.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
So yeah, so I'm only like 13 hours in, so I'm not like that deep, but I did like make sure to like go through like all of the stuff in the grasslands. And
Dude,
so
grasslands ribs.
it's interesting because like some of the things that you guys are talking about, like I just feel like I have to see it expand because like with the combat humor,
Yeah.
like the like Saturday, like I was not feeling it, and then Sunday I was suddenly like
Yeah.
getting it, you know?
Don't you love when that happens, dude? You just get a little further, dude. The game stops holding your hands. You start
but
learning things. You start unlocking things, and it's like, oh, here we fucking
Let him
go.
cook. Let him
Yeah.
cook.
But it was partly because, Huber, of like the stuff that you were talking about, towards like I just felt like so many times where like in the regular fights, I would just clear out the guys before
Yeah.
I did anything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, there's even in like the tutorial for like synergy moves and stuff, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here's how you do the synergy moves. I'm like, okay, let me try, and then nope.
It was
Do
so
not
dead.
have time for any meter to build up anywhere.
yeah.
And then weird like just getting around complaint. I feel like there's just too many ledges.
Oh yeah.
Just like I'm just constantly like stopping, like
Gotta get
just,
that chocobo, dude.
Yeah.
Even with the
Yeah.
chocobo, you're like,
Yeah,
why
even
can't
with
you
the
jump
chocobo.
that? Why can't you jump that?
With the and again, I know there's probably like better ones that are coming, but with like a lot of the side quests that I've done that have like given me points towards characters, and I'm like, oh, that had something to do with that character. Like,
Yeah,
I guess there were
I'd be like-
flowers there, so Aerith likes this. So it's like,
Your relationship with Kate Sith has improved, and I'm like, why?
yeah. And so, whereas like, you know, like going back to Dragon Age, which I know I'm the only person that's played, it's like all of those
I played.
character quests felt like, oh, we're going out here to do something with this character, to
Got
learn
it.
about this character. Some of those
A little
moments
better
were like,
context.
you should have put 3 of these quests into the same quest, because it was just we would go talk at a bar and then we'd be done.
Yeah.
But,
I get that.
but they felt more connected.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was really getting those bonds and stuff. And I think that's the other thing too, is like Isla criticizing the character writing and stuff in Dragon Age, where it's like, and this is like, are we on a stage? Because it just feels like everyone is like very stiff and proper, and like Cloud is just very monotone.
Dude, Cloud.
And I'm just like, yeah,
What an art.
it's just a
He's supposed to be
different acting
monotone,
style,
right?
different
Yeah.
writing style.
Cloud is struggling with a whole suite of
And
mental illnesses.
Cloud
But I
is
feel like everyone is
punished.
sort of like
Anime.
that. Like,
Yeah, dude. Cloud.
almost like
It's a
speaking out an
style.
instruction manual or something.
It's like my
you know? It's
Japanese
like-
anime. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's something that like I'm warming up to.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
style, right? Yeah.
I will say, I don't know if you have them in your party yet, but the highlight for me, what starts to like make interactions way improved it dramatically, was when Yuffie becomes a core member
Yep.
of your group.
Yep.
Yuffie is actually
The light,
probably
the
one of
heart.
the strongest characters in this game.
The
I
heart.
don't think. Yeah.
She peps
Like,
it up, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like the surface level of them, but like a lot of their interactions, I think.
Dude, Yuffie and Barrett, man. The bond, Damiani.
That one, yeah, like that, but
All
also
in
like
small.
Dude.
watch
Tall,
if you have an
small,
opportunity, watch the full extended version of the quote unquote date scene with Cloud and her.
Snyder cut.
And oh, like getting it's like character development. It her backstory. It cuts deep, and it has like a nice nod to a previous game too in there as well. But like it shows a really good dynamic between the two, and like how they understand each other and like what they're going through
Yeah. He's
like
so fun to play as.
through deflecting as well. And I'm like, oh, this is like. This is really well. This is probably like the best one. Like obviously people wanted the Tifa Aerith one or the Barrett one or the goofy like the Party of 3 one where the Sid, Vincent and Kate Sith. Which you can't even get on your first playthrough. You have to pick that as an option. It's not possible.
I mean, if you didn't get Aerith or Tifa on your first playthrough, you're a sociopath.
Can you get Tifa and Aerith with no Cloud, though? That's my question. Like, Cloud could go deal with his shit on his own.
So punished.
I can fix him.
I
don't
do
wanna
agree,
fix
though.
him.
I do
do.
agree that the
Oh, I love him.
checklist
Call me.
overworld stuff got out of hand, and honestly, like, I really wish they could have, like, in retrospect, they should just release a version that takes that all out and just, like, keeps the mini games and stuff and, like, take away, like, towers
I
and
honestly
research.
think
Like,
they-
we don't need the Chadley stuff, honestly.
I honestly think that, like, because
Abolish
like, it's cool
Chadley.
to add,
Abolish Chadley.
it's cool to add another like difficulty or whatever, but I would think it'd be cool if they added like it doesn't have to be like a story only mode, but like a streamlined mode or whatever, where it's
Yeah.
like this Queen's Blood stuff, this Fort Condor stuff, this Proto Relic stuff. I almost said Proto Molecule. This stuff is worthwhile, and then this stuff you don't have to engage with, because
Right.
like everyone keeps telling me like, oh, just put the combat on easy and ignore Chadley, and I'm like, well, that feels weird because some of this stuff I know is important, and like I still do want to find like secret endgames.
Also, why is he and his sister or whatever yelling at me at the through the controller?
I will
They're
not.
yelling at each other.
That's
I
what
will not
hate about
stand here and
Chadley.
listen to Chadley hate. All right.
fucking
Chadley
psycho.
knows. Chadley acknowledges that his sister is annoying, and the game continues to do. Okay, so the writers of the game know she's annoying and continue to make her annoying. That is what pisses me off.
that's a good take.
We'll have a
But yeah,
payoff in part three.
I kind of similarly feel like it's
Yeah, dude.
between those three.
I think I agree as a group. Yes.
I mean, like for me personally, there are others that are higher, but they wouldn't have the votes. Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, I
This is a
like,
good-
feel more strongly about Enel. Well, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a Dragon's Dogma 2 stan, but that has no hope of winning.
I would like to be more behind Metaphor, but like I said, like I haven't played it for 3 months or something like that, and I didn't get to finish it.
I mean, I think Damiani and I both are like, okay, like, it was.
with what?
Yeah, and
Your
I'm like
metaphor.
15.
Like,
and I'm
it's
15,
not
20
a good
hours
year for
in.
me.
Yeah, I JRPGs, especially with me, have a tendency to. The payoff is usually worth it at the end. Like, I'll get there eventually, I know it, but boy, oh boy, Metaphor is. I don't think I've ever had a slower start to a game in my entire life where I'm just like, dude, why am I not
disappointing.
obsessed? I'm like, why am I not obsessed with this? This is everything I love. This like medieval fantasy shit, dealing with like prejudice and like dark themes, turn-based epic combat, like great everything. And I'm just like, man, I'm just like not. It just didn't grab me right away. And I'm like,
There were
A good
there were
chunk
a lot
in.
of
I'm a
elements
good
of it
chunk
where
in.
I was like, I've seen this before. Like, sure.
It's also like trying to do
But
like
I'll
the-
get there,
the
I know
world
it.
building, which in fantasy games like they have to establish all the terms and like
Mm-hmm.
names and everything. Whereas like
Whoa,
there's
Yeah,
like
but
a
Huber loves that shit.
I
like
love that stuff. I pour over that. I love it.
So I was gonna say
Fucking
like a
encyclopedia. of
Yeah,
whatever.
I love the encyclopedia in that game. It's incredible.
Yeah, I do think. Yeah, we may both feel a little bit different after we're not under the gun. I was
Yeah.
feeling that with Final Fantasy. Was like a little stressed. Like I gotta play as much
Yeah.
of this as I can before Monday.
A lot
I
of these
just- I
games
know
are
Huber
definitely
would-
hurt by time crunch for sure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like, I know, Huber, I know you'll love the characters so much.
100%.
I just-
Hulkenberg is already one of my favorites in
I
the biz.
know, I love her so
Yeah,
much.
she's so good.
Oh,
He's
that's
gonna
the other.
surprise me.
Even though I still like think it's in the top 3, the other thing that's been bugging me about Final Fantasy is, at least at this point, 13 hours in, they have not told me what the heck we're even doing. We're just wandering around. I guess Sephiroth's over there. Let's go that way.
Yeah.
Like, there's
you're
Making our
no.
way over to Sephiroth.
There is just like
Yeah,
it
trying
seems
to
like
track
no
Sephiroth.
stakes whatsoever.
Yeah, you see the hooded figures are all going
And they go-
going a direction, and you're like following that.
And you're also
That's
running
not-
away from Shinra.
that's not very
because they're
interesting.
after
Yeah,
you. Like,
But then, like
informed,
5 minutes
come
later,
after
they're
you.
not after you, Damiani, and you just go back to town.
That's
That part-
open world shenanigans.
That part was
RPG.
weird.
Yeah,
That
it's
part was
yeah.
weird. That part was
Yeah.
weird.
We can't put
But you know what doesn't have
the
that on
concept
Dragon's
of video
Dogma 2?
games
Dragon's
on
Dogma 2 does
trial.
not have that.
Perfect game.
I just feel like I felt stronger. momentum from a lot of the other RPGs I played.
It's also just
Yeah.
part of the story arc in Final Fantasy VII specifically is like the beginning of Rebirth is a weird kind of nebulous, like even the characters aren't sure what to do with themselves now, kind of.
Yeah, the way remake part 1 ends is
Yeah.
like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like,
Well, 'cause
And half the
I
characters
mean,
are insane, so
Yeah, Rebirth starts with the flashback though, so you're doing
man,
you're doing the
Zach.
Nibelheim stuff. That's the whole. I mean, Zach.
Yeah.
But Nibelheim, you're getting the flashback,
Yeah.
the retelling, which is important because that's like one of the like narrative like unreliable narrator stuff going on. It's like because immediately like Tifa says privately
Love
to
that.
Aerith that
he
didn't
wasn't
like,
there. What-
he wasn't
yeah.
there, or but she's questioning herself. She's like, maybe, but you saw something, might have happened with Tifa. So it's like, is she misremembering? So like, there's
I really
so
liked
much
that,
doubt
yeah.
that you're like, especially with what they did in remake, you're like, okay, all's fair here. Like maybe it did happen this way, and she's misremembering, or maybe it is like they keep you guessing, and I think that's like the strength of their gambit that they're playing at with this remake,
Blood
but it's
Gambit.
a sequel type thing as well. So it's not necessarily a remake thing. It's like, are things going to go differently? Are they playing on your expectations to screw with you? It's like they're constantly keeping you guessing with that. So for every beat that's 1 for 1, it's like, you kind of like overanalyze it a bit if you're like a veteran. You're like, is that
Yeah.
actually right? I don't know.
Damn, you guys have got me jazzed up to finish this and start
Yeah,
Unicorn
No.
Overlord.
definitely,
I know, Unicorn
definitely
Overlord
into
for
it.
sure. I went to buy it a couple times. I was like,
Okay, so
I
how
don't
do
have
we
time.
how do we want to approach this then?
this is
Maybe
tough.
everyone-
This is real tough. Does anyone have any other games right now, or forever hold your peace, or whatever the hell they say? Does anyone think anything should beat Balatro or Astrobot or Rebirth? I know you might have your personal picks, but I feel like that's kind of where we are as a group with those three.
Those are my top
I
three.
agree, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, those are not my top 3, but as a group, and like, I obviously see their merits. So like, yeah.
I concur.
I mean,
Read the list of 12 again. Please.
Animal Well, Astrobot, Balatro, Dragon's Dogma 2, Rebirth, Indiana Jones, Indica, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Prince of Persia, Silent Hill 2, and UFO 50.
Sick list. Giving the Lost Crown the respect it deserves feels good.
Yeah, I'm probably like Rebirth or Balatro most likely.
I mean, do we just do a vote?
Fuck, dude, I cannot believe it. I hate this. But I actually think I know. I think I have my
Every
pick.
year, Huber.
I know. I hate it.
He's
I
know.
know.
said, "I think I have my pick."
I
before.
actually, yeah. I
That's a
think I
first.
do.
What do
I
you
know.
think?
That's never happened before.
Okay.
No, you go, Gabby.
Is it- I just want to speak one more time on Balatro.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Final word.
Final word. I think it's a feat of engineering and a feat of artistry and a feat of game design that people are probably already trying to copy.
Oh, there are a
Oh,
lot
definitely.
of
But
clones.
this person basically invented a new type of game, and it speaks the universal language of playing cards, and
Totally.
Yeah.
it's artistically beautiful, it's sonically beautiful, it's, like Huber said, complex, and like I said, simple. At the same time, a minute to learn, a lifetime to master, and it captures that one more run, just one
Yeah.
more run, just one more
Oh my
run.
gosh.
I know.
feeling.
It is.
I cannot start it and not play like an hour, basically.
Yeah,
Sam.
it's
Like-
actually not cool.
I have
It's a problem.
I have stumbled home at night and just like put on Balatro, and it is like the most it's like a soothing tonic.
Yeah.
Like
Like
it is
the-
like a warm blanket, and it feels like it's not going anywhere. Like this is a game that will just be there for me for the foreseeable future, a long time. As I have put like 100 plus more hours in like than earlier in the year, it just like I just kept getting more addicted and more addicted, not less. Like, it just kept getting better and better. Like, I love Balatro today more than I ever have. And, like, tomorrow I'll say the same thing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's so funny because it's that quintessential argument of, like, a Stanley Kubrick film versus, like, a Nolan or something. Or, like, you have Rebirth that is like the biggest budget game making, like one of the absolute best presentations of a game.
I was really appreciating their character models.
Oh my god, the cutscenes, dude, when you do a synergy move, when like fucking through like Sephiroth and Cloud, like back to back, just like all the sparks flying, like it is such a showpiece of tech and just like gaming artistry. But like, also it's like you go on that journey, and I'm sure a lot of people replay it. I will replay it one day. I love replaying games. I hope you know that. I replay everything. But like, it's also something that, you know, I went through it and I'm good, and I'm gonna have that memory. Whereas Balatro, on the other hand, is like a forever game.
As
So
soon
it
as
is. It's an
as
interesting.
Soon as I log off to Zoom, I'm gonna play Balatro.
Seriously. So it's like, it's just different values, you know. It's they are so different in what they are doing. Because again, Rebirth will give you that 10 out of 10 on that playthrough, but then at the same time, Balatro is like one more run. So just
And you know,
different
that's not to
strengths.
say, like, I absolutely loved Rebirth. I did feel some of that bloat that Huber's talking about, but I still, I liked Remake, but I was kind of like, okay, whatever, when it was over. But Rebirth, I was like, oh my god, I'm now obsessed with these characters. I'm now, you know,
Got
I'm
it, yeah.
100%
So many good
in on
moments.
this world. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, best love triangle in a game of all time. Ever.
Barely a love triangle.
3 people involved in a relationship, to me, is a love triangle.
That's just a throuple, man.
It's barely a love triangle.
No way. Tell the internet that, Gabby.
Alright, so. What do we do? Circling back to the question. What do we do?
I thought you were
just
leaning
go
somewhere.
around.
Didn't that whole
I am
conversation start?
leaning.
Didn't you lean somewhere?
And why is it Balatro?
I'm leaning towards Balatro.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards it.
I'm leaning towards Balatro mostly because it's weird in a way because it's like the different designs, but it's like I have fewer negative things that I could come up with.
That's kind of my thing is like,
It's like what's wrong with Balatro? I don't know.
there's nothing wrong with
it.
Balatro.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's basically nothing wrong with Balatro, and I
There's
did
nothing.
stop playing Rebirth because I was so annoyed at all the bloat. And like, I was loving the characters and story. And like, the combat for me is like, whatever. But like,
I love the combat.
the bloat was a lot. And I know I can just not do it, and this is my own problem. But like, Balatro has no bloat.
I still will never love the argument of like, oh, just don't do the side
don't do
stuff.
it.
Like, I'm gonna do the side shit no matter
yeah,
what.
yeah.
Like, if it's there, I'm doing it.
I am
Like,
held hostage
it's-
by this content.
Yeah, it is
Chadley
such a
has
bad
gun
argument.
to the side of my head.
Side quests have to really piss me off for me not to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to like fight myself.
And
to
like,
not do them.
Yeah.
But the problem with that mentality is that I just stopped playing because I couldn't face Chadley anymore. And the disappointment in his eyes, you know. When I
He will
didn't-
for sure be a boss fight in the third
When
one.
I didn't dude,
It's going
if
down.
Chadley
Are
turns
we
into
fighting
like,
Chadley in the
if Chadley is like
He's been taking.
Sephiroth the
He's
whole
been
time,
researching us the
Yeah,
whole
the
time.
Yeah.
whole time. He's gonna be the
The whole
perfect
time.
organism
I
in
was
this game.
learning your
Yeah.
I
tells,
hope he has an
dude.
attack that
Maverick.
tracks all the things you've done
Exactly.
for him. And
I was
everything you've
learning
done
your
enhances
tells.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
It's gonna be
yes,
so
he's
super
Emerald
difficult.
Weapon.
So if you ignored all his side activities, it'll be a breeze. But if he did everything, it's going to punish completionists.
That is actually pretty hilarious. He gets harder the more you do. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not doing
We need
any
Mass
such-
Effect import saving.
Love
I am not
Save
feeding
imports.
Chadley data.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so game of the year is Balatro.
I will say too, my hot take is that I prefer, even though it might technically be a worse game, I do prefer Remake Part 1 over 2. I like when the stories are smaller and more focused. Like, that game is primarily about taking Shinra down and saving Midgar, and I love the hyper-focus of that mission,
I felt
whereas
like-
in Rebirth is like all over the place, which is cool.
The focus is so much more on your relationship with your friends.
That's still like, dude, Jesse
Rebirth.
in the first one, like you still have a lot in the first one. There's a lot of friendly
Yeah.
bonds.
But
Yeah,
again,
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to them landing the plane with the third one and to see how cohesive and strong the entire experience is, you know?
yeah.
Because, like, the middle of a trilogy is always crazy.
Yeah, it's just weird when it's like, even when like Cloud is like, okay, we gotta move on, and Aerith's like, no, we gotta get some cash first, and like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna move on. Like everyone told me to not do the side. Like it's yeah. Anyways, Isla just blurted it out a minute ago. But are we at Balatro?
I mean, it's
do we
got the
think so?
numbers.
Yeah. Gabby's nodding.
Yeah.
That's a
I love it.
It's-
4-1. Is
I
this
love
basically?
it. I think it's a perfect game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a special game. I think if you factor in like, you know, we for GOTYs we look at the games kind of in a vacuum a little bit. I think that is important, like just looking at the game. But there is an element of like the overall vibe of the game in that year. And Balatro, like a couple of you were saying, like you don't know how to play poker, but like
Right.
you got obsessed with this game. I think this game had a big impact in the industry, which is like not the most important thing for Game of the Year, but it is a little bit of a factor where it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it just had a big impact.
All right. Let's say it officially. Easy Allies 2024 Game of the Year
Crazy.
is Balatro.
Crazy.
Balatro!
Crazy.
Balatro!
Balatro.
So we got some technical things to wrap up. We'll do after we record. Thank you to everyone that's hanging with us. Again, that produced compressed video with just the nominees and the winner will be up at the same time as this.
Who needs graphics?
And if you haven't seen it yet, our personal picks stream is happening the same day that this goes up, so you can go there and check out more of our personal pick thoughts, our individual lists, as well as a range of different categories that we still haven't even really decided on exactly if we're doing the same ones as last year or not. But yeah, look for all of that. Thank you for sticking with us for a solid 3 hours.
Faster than we've ever done it.
Is it?
Maybe just
no, I
one
think
side
last
note.
year included everything.
That's true.
This is just Game of the Year.
Last year-
So I think it's been quicker for just Game of the Year
Triple
before.
it for the top
Yeah.
10s.
But we didn't have a lot of those preliminary conversations either, so that's
Yeah.
part of it, yeah. But
Welcome to
yeah,
my TED Talk.
please check out the podcast every week. Please check out the channel, and please check out our Patreon. How all this stuff happens is because people just like you are paying the bills to keep us running. So go to patreon.com/easyallies, put in $5 a month. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.